Chapter 989. Do you want to fight? Come on. Do you think I'm afraid of you? The two fans immediately started fighting. However, Yi Shan did not look at them and walked towards the notice board. When he saw the good news on the notice board, Yi Shan was stunned. The emperor actually approved the marriage. Yi Shan immediately understood. For the emperor to approve the marriage at this crucial moment, it is obviously against Yi Hua. If Yi Hua dares to act recklessly, I will have an excuse to kill this brave great general. This is a good plan, but if Yi Hua really falls for it, wouldn't this Huang Fei find an excuse to exploit Yi family? Right now, Yi Shan was uncertain. I don't even want to enter the palace anymore, I don't have the mood to do so. Just what is the emperor planning to do? Is he planning to get rid of Yi Hua alone, or is he planning to get rid of Yi family? With a solemn look in his eyes, Yi Shan walked back. Did you see that? Yi family head is having a headache. How can he not have a headache? This Qian Yuqing is our Lingdu's #1 beauty, and in the past, she was also his daughter-in-law. Right now, seeing that his daughter-in-law actually married into the royal family, anyone would feel heartache for this matter. That's right, if only Yi Hua was still alive, then he would be able to clearly see this woman's true colors. In the end, she still abandoned you and threw herself into the embrace of another man. What do you all know? Qian Yuqing has always liked Yi Hua. Who knows, maybe this woman is dangling the 9th prince as a spare tire. Scum. Brother, you are very particular. Towards this marriage, everyone had different opinions. Some people felt pity for Yi Hua. If they knew about this, they would definitely jump out from their coffins. Meanwhile, in Qian family, Qian Yi had just woken up and was currently washing up. Family head, congratulations family head, congratulations family head. A few servants could be seen kneeling towards Qian Yi with a face full of excitement. Qian Yi laughed lightly, then took out some gold coins from her sleeve and sprinkled them on the ground, just like feeding a dog. What is there to congratulate? Qian Yi asked curiously. One of the servants said excitedly, Family head, the emperor has issued a decree. The 9th prince and the young lady's marriage has been approved. After hearing that, Qian Yi immediately went into a daze. She immediately helped the servant up and asked carefully, explain it clearly. You'll be rewarded if you speak clearly. Patriarch, the emperor has already announced the marriage between the young miss and the 9th prince to the world. The servant shouted excitedly as if he was the one marrying the young Mississippi. The pleasant surprise came too quickly. Qian Yi felt a little dizzy. Ever since he became a supreme being, he had never felt so dizzy. In the end, he came today. Seeing that the family head was about to collapse, all the servants surrounded him and carefully supported him. Qian Yi suddenly laughed and threw a bag of gold coins on the ground, causing the servants to frantically scramble for them. However, outside Qian Yuqing's room, a group of maids respectfully shouted, Congratulations, Mississippi. Qian Yuqing, who had just woken up, was very confused. Why did they come to congratulate her so early in the morning? Qian Yuqing opened the door and saw the maids kneeling on the ground. What's wrong? Young lady, the emperor has issued a decree. The marriage between the 9th prince and young lady will be held in 7 days. Hearing this news, Qian Yuqing did not dare to believe it. She revealed the same expression as her father, but their mentalities were completely different. Say that again. Qian Yuqing said in a low voice. The maids repeated what they said just now. Qian Yuqing felt a little dizzy. Seeing that the young miss looked like she was about to faint from happiness, the maids immediately went up to support her. The emperor has actually issued a decree. How is this possible? Could it be that the imperial cloud is begging the emperor? That must be the case. Could it be that the emperor doesn't care about anything? Just what are these people thinking? I am a married woman, and there are still so many people who want to marry me, they must all be crazy. Qian Yuqing directly walked into the room and closed the door. All the maids were very puzzled. Why is the young miss angry? Such a good thing, if it were me, I would definitely faint from happiness. At this moment, Qianni walked over and took out a bag of gold coins and threw it on the ground. The maids still frantically scrambled for the gold coins. Yuqing, Yuqing, father is coming in. Qianni knocked on the door, then walked into the room. Right now, Qian Yuqing was lying on the bed and crying softly. When it really happened, Qian Yuqing felt very helpless. She really wanted to talk to Yihua and ask Yihua to help her, but she was already at her limit. It was so hard, so tiring. Within Yi family, Yihua woke up. His mood today was pretty good. After all, I know who my mother is. When the time comes, I just have to find out the cause of my death and find out who exactly was the one who killed me. I, the Supreme Overlord, have been exterminated twice in a row. Is it a problem with human nature, or is it a problem with being a person? Or is it a problem with my personality? Will there be a third extermination? If there really is such an awesome person, I, the Supreme Overlord, will be very happy. I hope that awesome person will quickly come out and compete with me. Yihua, who was in a pretty good mood, changed his hairstyle, and even the clothes that he was wearing changed as well. Yihua, who was in a pretty good mood, changed his hairstyle today, and even the clothes that he was wearing were changed as well. Yihua stood in front of the mirror and looked at himself. This hairstyle is still very tasteful, I look just too handsome. I really don't know how Qian Yuqing managed to chase after me in the past, I really let her take advantage of me. Wait, all of the women that I was with, all of them were only able to become my women because they were extremely lucky. I, the Supreme Overlord, am still too outstanding, I can't even hide myself anymore. Yihua opened the door. The air outside was very good, and the air outside was very good. As for the house that was destroyed yesterday, Yishan repaired it with a single spell. To an overlord, it was very easy. Yihua decided to go out and take a walk. Since I am Yihua, I should let everyone know that I am back. I, the Supreme Overlord, am back. When the time comes, let's see what kind of expression that Emperor will have. I am really curious. Within Yi family's servants, there were a lot of old servants. When they saw Yihua, who was dressed in a black robe, they were all stupefied. That expression, that action, they are simply exactly the same as Yihua. Yihua felt that the gazes of these people were very interesting and very surprised. This is exactly the feeling that I wanted. Big brother. Suddenly, a voice rang out from behind Yihua. Yihua turned around to take a look. So it was that squinty-eyed guy, I don't even know what his name is. The squinty-eyed guy was naturally Yi Liangkai. When he saw his big brother's makeup today, he was even more certain that if this isn't Big Brother, then this is a ghost. What? Yihua asked faintly. Listening to this tone, could it be that this isn't Big Brother? This person is still that ice cold, exactly the same as before. If this person is a scammer, then this person is definitely Big Brother's soul. After all, Big Brother's every word and every sentence is very particular, and no one is able to learn it. That Yi Juetian learned it for over 100 years, yet he still wasn't able to learn it. End of this chapter. Chapter 990. Nothing, Yi Liangkai said softly. Yihua took a look at Yi Liangkai, and the latter shrunk back, appearing to be very afraid. This big brother had really changed. In the past, although his gaze was cold, there was still a trace of kinship in it. But now, there was no kinship in the coldness, only a trace of killing intent. Yihua didn't pay attention to him, turned around, and walked towards the entrance of Yi family. The attitude he displayed was like the boss of Yi family. Why did Yihua want to go out early in the morning? The reason was actually very simple. He wanted to go out and see what breakfast was available. After all, it was the god's realm, so the breakfast should be rich and varied. Moreover, other than eating breakfast, he also needed to let others know that he had returned. Take it as revenge for my past self. Yihua stood in front of Yihua's house, and the guards on both sides were still looking at Yihua with an astonished gaze. It felt so unreal. Yihua slowly walked down the stairs, and his outfit quickly attracted everyone's attention. A man who saw Yihua was already shocked to the point that he was speechless. This is... A woman who was holding her child's hand looked at Yihua, who was slowly walking over. Back then, I was still young, but now, I have become the mother of my child. Oh my God! I saw a ghost. Ah! This is Yihua. It can't be that Yi Juetian is impersonating him, right? One of the men asked doubtfully. However, he was quickly refuted by a group of people. For Yi Juetian to have this kind of expression, he can't even compare to Yi Huajun. That's right, this is the real Yi Huajun. Aren't you curious whether this is a human or a ghost? The group of girls rolled their eyes. Such a handsome guy, even if he's a ghost, I'd still recognize him. The news of Yihua appearing on the streets quickly spread throughout the entire spirit city. Some people were simply running around and shouting at the top of their lungs. What, Yihua is back? Everyone, quickly come and take a look. Towards this kind of situation, Yihua appeared to be very calm and collected. This is just a small scene, and I, the Supreme Overlord, don't put it in my eyes at all. As for these women, they were no different from those women on earth. When they saw me, they wanted to offer their filthy bodies to me. They were really shameless. Am I that kind of man? However, the breakfast in this spirit capital is still nothing much. I still feel that the breakfast on earth is delicious enough. Suddenly, he wanted to eat fried dough sticks and porridge. The combination of the two was a perfect match. Let's try the meat buns here first. They look pretty good. Yihua could be seen walking towards a meat bun shop, and when the boss saw Yihua walking over, his face lit up. Yihua Jun, you're finally back. Xiao AI, hurry up and prepare some meat buns for Yihua Jun, the uncle selling meat buns said excitedly. This caused Yihua to be very puzzled. Your expression is a bit too exaggerated. Therefore, Yihua waited quietly and did not have any reaction. The boss didn't seem to know what to say. Yihua took the 2 meat buns from the middle-aged woman and asked faintly, how much is it? Yihua Jun, there's no need for money. If it wasn't for you, Xiao AI and I would have been chased out of Spirit Capital long ago. After listening to what Yihua said, Yihua finally understood. It seems like in the past, I have always been a good person and doing good deeds. However, I, the Supreme Overlord, will never owe money when I eat. Putting things on credit is not my character. How much is it? Yihua asked again, and this time, his tone was a bit impatient. The boss was shocked and hurriedly said, even if it's me, Yihua Jun. Yihua took out 2 gold coins and placed it on the table, then left. Gold coins should be the universal currency. Using 2 gold coins to exchange for 2 meat buns, who else is more extravagant than me? If you're not convinced, then feel free to argue. Following Yihua's reappearance on the street seemed to be surging with people. Everyone came to watch the show, causing Yihua to feel very awkward. They looked extremely similar to those idol-chasing people, that kind of passionate and fanatical gaze, as if with just a word from me, they would abandon their lives. In the past, Yihua was able to bluff these commoners into becoming obedient. I'm afraid that I'm doing this to build a good foundation for myself to become an emperor. Thinking up to here, the corner of Yihua's mouth slightly arced up. Interesting. You have concealed yourself quite deeply. I saw through you with just a single look. Unfortunately, I was schemed against by someone else. If not, I'm afraid that you would have become an emperor by now. Not bad. I thought that you were a good person, but it turns out that your schemes aren't just ordinary. To win over the hearts of the people, to prepare to rebel against the heavens. If I didn't guess wrongly, this fellow was clearly getting married with Qian Yuqing on that day, but before the wedding ceremony was over, he ran out to fight. What kind of big matter caused him to not even have the mood to get married? From what I deduced, this fellow was precisely waiting for this opportunity. Because he knew that these people had already started to make their moves. If he was able to survive, he would have an excuse to overthrow the emperor. At that time, all of the commoners would be cheering for Yi Hua. What a pity, he was still too young and was killed. If he wasn't killed, I wouldn't have appeared. Isn't it just that he wants to become an emperor? Let me think of a way, it might really be possible. Are you Yi Huajun? A little girl could be seen standing in front of Yi Hua. The little girl raised her head and asked curiously. Yi Hua lowered his head and looked at the little girl, and discovered that the little girl looked a bit similar to Ali when she was young. Thus, Yi Hua asked curiously, "What's wrong?" "Yi Huajun, follow me." The little girl seemed to be very anxious as she pulled Yi Hua and ran. Yi Hua was helpless. After all, my identity right now is the good Yi Hua who loves his people. Thus, Yi Hua temporarily put away his slightly ferocious side. Very quickly, Yi Hua was pulled to the side of the notice board. Right now, everyone was looking at Yi Hua's expression. They were very curious as to what would happen if Yi Hua saw his woman getting married to someone else. This spirit city would probably tremble 3 times. Yi Hua indeed saw it, and his pair of eyes gradually narrowed. This Qian Yuqing, to think that she said that she was infatuated with me, but it turns out that she was rushing back to get married. Hee hee. This is simply a joke. Everyone saw that Yi Hua's expression gradually changed, and his expression became darker and darker. Big brother. Big brother. Why did you run out? Yi Juetian finally found his big brother. This morning, when he came out, he saw the news that his sister-in-law was going to get married. Thus, he became anxious and hurriedly ran back. He discovered that his big brother wasn't at home, and only after he went out did he find out that his big brother had actually run out to take a stroll. If Big Brother were to find out that his sister-in-law was going to get married to the royal family, wouldn't he go crazy? Facing Yi Juetian's words, everyone once again confirmed that this was indeed Yi Hua. However, Yi Juetian's words at the end were a bit strange. It was as if Yi Hua was a lunatic and suddenly ran out. Yi Hua turned around and looked at Yi Juetian coldly. The latter was given a fright. As expected, he got angry. Yi Hua walked towards Yi Juetian and stood in front of Yi Juetian, then stretched out his hand and poked Yi Juetian's chest. "This is the good woman that you guys are talking about." Sorry, I went out to give New Year greetings today." End of this chapter. Chapter 991. After saying that, he left without looking back. He was in a bad mood. It was as if his pet was disobedient and went to eat other people's meat. What was the point of having such a pet? It was already benevolent of me to not directly cut it off. "Big brother, wait a minute." Yi Juetian hurriedly chased after him. It seemed like something had happened. Big Brother had just returned and the Emperor had already issued an edict. This was obviously directed at Big Brother. In the crowd, some men quietly left and rushed back to the palace to report the news. With a cold expression on his face, Yi Hua walked towards Yi family. Meanwhile, Yi Juetian hurriedly chased after Yi Hua and explained, "Big brother, don't be fooled, big sister-in-law is sincere towards you." Sincere? The imperial board has already been posted out, do you think it's sincere? Yihua said coldly. Big brother, think about it. You've just come back and the emperor has already issued an edict. There are many suspicious points in this. I guess he wants you to fight with sister-in-law. Don't be fooled. Yi Juetian was really anxious. Yesterday, he was still thinking that his big brother and sister-in-law were finally together. He didn't expect things to change so quickly. Yihua sneered, then said in disdain, then, this emperor has successfully fooled me. Big brother. Yi Juetian shouted helplessly. He clearly knew that it was a trap, yet he still had to act like this. Big brother, you're the emperor of the Kangluo continent, don't you know about such a scheme? There's no need to say any more, I don't have such a woman. Yihua said coldly. I decided to tell this matter to my mother and not to mention this Qian Yuqing anymore in the future. After walking into Yi family, Yihua directly walked towards his mother's room, and Yi Juetian followed closely behind him. Today, Lu Jing was different from usual. She sat outside the courtyard and played the zither. Her complexion was also very good, which meant that she was in a good mood. However, when Lu Jing saw her son walking in with a gloomy face, she frowned. Her youngest son followed closely behind her with a melancholic expression. It seemed like something had happened. Yihua stood in front of Lu Jing. Meanwhile, Yi Juetian respectfully shouted out, Mother. Yihua, what's wrong? Lu Jing nodded her head and asked Yihua. Yihua said gravely, in the future, don't mention Qian Yuqing in front of me, and don't even think about marrying her. Impossible. Hearing Yihua's words, Lu Jing was startled. Yihua, what happened? Don't get too excited. Mother, His Majesty has already given the decree to betroth sister-in-law to the 9th prince. Yi Juetian added, he was also very helpless. What? Lu Jing exclaimed. Her son had just returned, and the emperor had already made such a move. It really caught her off guard. It seemed like his son was jealous. He said he didn't like it, so what was the point of being jealous now? Lu Jing held onto Yihua's hand and sat down, then said tenderly, Yihua, you must remain calm at a time like this. This is definitely not Yuqing's idea, this is the emperor's plan. Whether it's a scheme or not, this is my stance. Yihua said indifferently. Yihua seemed to have lost his rationality a bit. This was different from the Yihua in the past. In the past, no matter what happened, Yihua would not panic, even if he had a conflict with Qingya, he would not panic. But today, he looked like he was going to get a divorce and did not even give him a chance to explain. He even showed a very impulsive look, which was not up to standard. When Lu Jing saw her son's unyielding attitude, she persuaded, I know Yuqing. She would never do anything to let you down. At this point, the two of you should get through this together. I'm not interested in that, I'm going back to rest. Yihua said faintly, then turned around and left. Yihua. Lu Jing stood up and called out to Yihua. However, Yihua was the one who left. Seeing Yihua leave angrily, Lu Jing let out a light sigh, Little Tian, your big brother is currently in a fit of anger. Don't tell Yuqing about this, okay? Mother, I understand. Of course, Yi Juetian knew what his mother meant. She was afraid that his big brother would say something hurtful. After all, sister-in-law must be in a lot of pain now. If she was hurt by big brother and couldn't figure it out, what would happen? Right now, Yi Juetian was following behind Yihua. Even if Yihua were to walk into the house, Yi Juetian would still follow after Yihua. However, towards such a situation, Yihua did not stop them. However, in the Qian family, Qian Yuqing was already done grieving. Qian Yi comforted her for a long time but to no avail, so she left. Miss, your health is important. You should eat something. A maid standing on the side said respectfully. Qian Yuqing hadn't eaten anything yet, but it didn't matter to the gods. Qian Yuqing sat on the bed in a daze, thinking about how to get rid of this engagement. Miss. The maid seemed like she wanted to say something, but she was afraid. Qian Yuqing came back to her senses and said faintly, "If you have something to say, just say it." "It's like this, miss, I heard from those servants that Yi Hua came back today." The maid lowered her head and said, "Yi Hua came back." Qian Yuqing didn't react for a moment. "Yes, miss, a lot of people saw him on the streets today." Qian Yuqing finally reacted and immediately stood up, then asked excitedly, "Yi Hua came back?" "Yes, miss." Looking at the smiling expression on the miss's face, the maid was a bit worried. Qian Yuqing was overjoyed. "Yi Hua really came back, this is great, Yi Hua still likes me. This bad fellow, I even hugged him that day, and he still placed me back to where I was. I have never seen such a stupid man before." Under normal circumstances, at that time, I should have carried him into the house, and then, thinking about those embarrassing things, Qian Yuqing's face became a bit red. "What am I thinking about? I really have to give it to him." "Miss?" The maid couldn't help but ask. "Miss, you can't have gotten sick, right?" Qian Yuqing hurriedly retracted her happy smile. "Leave it here, you can go out first." "All right, miss," the maid said respectfully. After the maid left, Qian Yuqing ate a bit of the food, then let the maid carry the food out, then went to the secret passage. Of course, she was going to look for Yi Hua. Inside Yi Hua's room, the two brothers were currently drinking and playing. To be more precise, Yi Juetian was accompanying his big brother to drink. Who was the one who suggested drinking? Of course, it was Yi Hua who suggested it, just like how he himself was unhappy. "Big brother, sister-in-law is a good woman, don't misunderstand her." Yi Juetian still couldn't help but advise. "Very much like love." Yi Hua snorted coldly. Yi Juetian was confused. What does this mean? The two of them drank until their faces and ears were red, and the smell of alcohol filled the room. However, at this moment, the floor suddenly made a sound, and the two brothers immediately looked over. A beautiful woman could be seen crawling out from the secret passage. Qian Yuqing finally saw Yi Hua. He really came. All of this is real, this is great. Tears of joy could be seen flowing down Qian Yuqing's face as she ran towards Yi Hua, seemingly wanting to give Yi Hua a big hug. However, Yi Hua's face sunk as he stretched out his hand and pushed Qian Yuqing away. Scram. End of this chapter. Chapter 992. Qian Yuqing, who was caught off guard, was pushed down. Yi Juetian was stupefied. "Big brother, isn't this too merciless?" Qian Yuqing was stupefied as well. "Yi Hua actually pushed me away, and even said, 'Scram.'" Yi Hua's face did not have any unnecessary expression, as if the person who was pushed down just now was an enemy, and he did not have any feeling of shame at all. Yi Juetian was the first to react, and he hurriedly walked to the front of Qian Yuqing. "Sister-in-law, are you all right?" Right now, Qian Yuqing was very confused. It has been 1,000 years since we last met, and now that we finally met again, she was pushed away by Yi Hua fiercely. I have imagined many scenes of us meeting each other, but I have never imagined such a scene. Yi Hua did not pay attention to Qian Yuqing, who was at the side, and silently looked at the cup of water, seemingly thinking about something. Yi Juetian helped Qian Yuqing up, and he did not know what to say. In the end, he still said in a low voice, "Sister-in-law, big brother knew about it, that's why he got angry." This explanation was still very useful, at least it let Qian Yuqing know why Yi Hua got angry. So it was because of marriage. Qian Yuqing lightly walked to Yi Hua's back and looked at this familiar back view. It was exactly the same as before, there was no change at all. However, right now, when she really saw it, she did not know what to say anymore. Her mood was exceptionally agitated, nervous, hesitant, and all sorts of other emotions were added together. Yi Hua, it is not what you think. I did not do anything to let you down. I did not let anyone else touch me. In order to explain clearly, Qian Yuqing threw caution to the wind. Men naturally did not wish for their women to be touched by other men. It has nothing to do with me, Yi Hua said coldly. However, this coldness was just like a sharp blade that was chopping onto Qian Yuqing's heart. Yi Juetian hurriedly said, "Big brother, this is definitely the emperor's plot. He knew that you had returned, and thus he was afraid, and thus wanted to use this kind of method to stimulate you." Qian Yuqing stood behind Yi Hua, feeling wronged. I didn't expect that this kind of misunderstanding would occur during our first meeting. Don't say so much, just go and marry whoever you want to marry, do as you wish. After hearing that, Qian Yuqing bit onto her lips tightly, and tears flowed down her cheeks uncontrollably. After so many years of hard work, at this moment, I actually obtained this kind of ending. Big brother, how can you say that about sister-in-law? Eldest sister-in-law has done so many things for mother. If it wasn't for eldest sister-in-law, mother wouldn't have been able to live for so long. Even if eldest sister-in-law is going to marry into the imperial family, it's also for mother. Why can't you understand eldest sister-in-law's bitter conscience? Why did Yi Juetian feel that his big brother was still the same as before? Yi Hua's tone was still indifferent. Mother's problem, I am able to solve it myself, there is no need for others to do it for me. Big brother, sister-in-law is one of us, how can she be someone else? Yi Juetian was very confused. Why did he have to say such hurtful words? Qian Yuqing lightly pressed onto Yi Hua's arm. Yi Hua, Yuqing is really not that kind of woman. Yi Hua struggled away from Qian Yuqing's hand. What kind of woman you are, it has nothing to do with me now. I think, I have already said it very clearly. I won't marry him, I will listen to everything you say, okay? Qian Yuqing begged. As long as Yi Hua didn't get angry, she was willing to do anything. Yi Hua said gravely, Qian Yuqing, there is no relationship between you and me anymore. You don't need to listen to me, and I don't want to see you. Scram. Hearing that Yi Hua told her to scram again, Qian Yuqing's tears flowed even more fiercely. Why did it turn out like this? Qian Yuqing held on to her face and left through the secret passage. Her heart was completely broken by Yi Hua. Yi Juetian looked at his big brother, then looked at his sister-in-law who was leaving. He didn't know who he should persuade. Yesterday, they had clearly agreed that big brother and sister-in-law were going to be together again and continue their former fate. However, right now, where is there even a need to continue their former fate? There is basically no such thing. However, right at this moment, Yi Chen's voice rang out from outside, Big brother, His Majesty has sent a decree. Yi Hua immediately stood up and opened the door. Yi Chen, who was standing outside, immediately took a step back and slightly lowered his head, feeling very fearful. Right now, it is better for me not to provoke big brother, lest I end up like my father, being tossed around by big brother. Although it doesn't hurt, my face hurts a lot. Yi Hua didn't say anything and walked towards the main hall. Yi Chen took a look at Yi Juetian, who was in the main hall, then hurriedly followed after Yi Hua. Yi Juetian hurriedly followed after Yi Hua. The emperor is truly anxious to think of ways to get rid of big brother right now. Furthermore, he is going to start from big sister-in-law first. As expected of the emperor. Arriving at the main hall, Yi Hua saw Yi Shan, his mother Le Jing, and a few brothers. Of course, there was also their mother. Compared to his mother, they were indeed much more mature. His mother seemed to have aged a lot, but the reason for this was because she missed her main body too much. In the future, I will slowly nurse my body back to health. When Yi Shan saw Yi Hua walking over, he didn't have a good expression on his face. As for the two women who were standing at the side, the plump one was called Renyu. She was Yi Qin and Yi Yuanqing's birth mother. The other one was rather skinny, but she didn't lose her beauty. After all, she was Yi Shan's woman, and Yi Shan's standards were also very high. She was called Su Peiyu. She was Yi Liangkai and Yizha's birth mother. When the two saw Yi Hua's appearance, they were a bit in disbelief. Last night, Yi family had been in an uproar, scaring them to the point that they couldn't sleep well. This morning, they heard that Yi Hua had returned. Didn't he die? Why did he return? Now that he has returned, what kind of status does my son have? Why did he return? Why? It seems like other than Lu Jing and Yi Juetian, everyone in Yi family did not wish for Yi Hua to return. There was a eunuch standing in the main hall, and right now, he was sizing up Yi Hua. As the eunuch that served the emperor, he had to have a pair of eyes that looked at people. How could he let him forget that back then, Yi Hua was the rising star of spiritual city, and even the emperor had to welcome him with a smile. However, Yi Hua's current expression was exactly the same as back then, there wasn't any difference at all. The eunuch felt that this shouldn't be fake. This kind of expression and temperament wasn't something that anyone could imitate. Just take this Yi Juetian for example, even if he wanted to imitate Yi Hua, he wouldn't be able to imitate Yi Hua at all. Prince Yi. The eunuch shouted towards Yi Hua. Yi Hua looked at this transvestite just like that, and he really wished that he could slap that high-pitched duck's voice to death. Towards how the eunuch addressed him, everyone in Yi family was very surprised. Prince. This was a very awesome title. To be able to become a prince, that meant that one would be at the same level as the emperor's relative. It seems like the emperor still fulfilled the promise he made back then and really conferred the title of prince to Yi Hua. How could the emperor not acknowledge it? After all, he had already said it in front of so many people. If he were to deny it now, wouldn't he be laughed at by others? He couldn't afford to lose face like this. The eunuch looked at Yi Hua's expression. As expected, it is the same as back then. Chapter 993. When His Majesty learned that Prince Yi had survived the calamity, he was overjoyed and said that Prince Yi would return sooner or later. Sure enough, His Majesty has issued an edict to invite Prince Yi to a banquet tonight for the whole country to celebrate. After the eunuch finished speaking, he waited for Yi Hua to say some words of thanks. However, Yi Hua remained standing there without moving, and there wasn't any expression on his face at all. I reckon that the news of the marriage was released this morning. His Majesty's hand is truly brilliant. Yi Hua was angered to the point that his expression changed, and he didn't even know what to say anymore. Seeing that Yi Hua did not move, Yi Shan hurriedly kneeled down and thanked Yi Hua. When Yi Shan knelt down, everyone else hurriedly knelt down as well. Of course, Yi Hua was the only exception. I don't even kneel to the heavens, so why would I kneel to a eunuch? What kind of joke was this? Even if the emperor comes, I won't give a damn about him. Unfilial son, why aren't you kneeling down and thanking me? Yi Shan wished that he could slap Yi Hua to death. This Yi family is going to perish in Yi Hua's hands sooner or later. Yi Hua lowered his head and looked towards his biological father, and the latter immediately turned his head away. This unfilial son of mine is so awesome now, to actually hit me just because I don't get along with him. He would definitely be struck by lightning in the future. I curse you, unfilial son. At this time, the eunuch smiled and said, Lord Yi, His Majesty has long said that Prince Yi doesn't need to salute. Indeed, after Yi Hua's death, the emperor had said such words. At this moment, Yi Shan was speechless. This time, the emperor obviously wants to get rid of Yi Hua. I can only hope that when the time comes, the entire Yi family will not be implicated. He was a jinx who would bring harm to people wherever he went. Prince Yi, I shall not disturb you any further. The eunuch bowed slightly and smiled, before leaving the Yi clan. Yi Hua didn't expect that the emperor was so anxious to actually take action so quickly. The Yi Hua of the past was so hateful. After her father-in-law left, Lu Jing said softly, "Yi Hua, come with mother. Mother has something to tell you." Yi Hua nodded his head, then followed his mother and walked out of the main hall. Yi Juetian hurriedly left the main hall as well. "I belong to Big Brother's faction, and I don't fit in with them. Even if Big Brother peers through the sky, Little Brother will advance and retreat together with Big Brother." "Husband, is he really Yi Hua?" Ren Yu asked in a low voice, appearing to be very worried. Yi Shan nodded and sat beside him. Su Peiyu served a pot of tea to Yi Shan. "Isn't this Yi Hua dead? How did he come back to life?" Su Peiyu asked in a low voice, feeling extremely puzzled. "How would I know?" Yi Shan shouted in a low voice. He was also very annoyed. Things were originally calm and peaceful, but now something had happened. Moreover, it was such a big matter. Just thinking about it made his blood boil. Seeing that their husband was a little angry, Ren Yu and Su Peiyu stopped talking. "Husband, when will Yuan Qing come back?" Ren Yu asked. "With such a change in the family, he should come back to take a look." Yi Shan sipped his tea. Yuan Qing should be able to rush back in the afternoon. When Yi Chen heard that his second sister was returning, he felt somewhat happy in his heart. He had not seen his second sister for more than 10 years already. After all, Yi Yuanqing and Yi Chen were siblings. Naturally, they had a good relationship. Right now, Yi Yuanqing could be considered to be the highest-ranking official in Yi family. She was also the only female general of spiritual capital. She was always fighting outside and was a tough woman. Meanwhile, the relationship between Yi Yuanqing and Yi Hua was just average. It wasn't very good, but it wasn't very bad either. Yi Yuanqing's relationship with Yi Hua was not like the other brothers who were all jealous of Yi Hua's excellence. Yi Yuanqing wanted to prove that he was more outstanding than his big brother and was able to carry the banner of Yi family. On the other side, Lu Jing brought Yi Hua to her own courtyard. "Little Tian, I want to talk to your big brother." Yi Juetian nodded his head gloomily. "Right now, I am not even allowed to listen to my big brother's words." The mother and son walked to a stone table at the side. "Yi Hua, sit." Yi Hua slowly sat down, and Lu Jing poured 2 cups of tea for him. Lu Jing had thought about it carefully just now and decided to give her son a reminder. Regardless of whether her son was willing to listen or not, this was a reminder that a mother should give. "Yi Hua, you should know that His Majesty is very biased against you. In the past, when something happened to you, it is very likely that the emperor arranged it." Lu Jing had long felt that the matter back then wasn't simple, but she wasn't sure. However, since the emperor announced the marriage announcement in the morning, it is very likely that it was done by him. Yi Hua did not say anything after hearing what Lu Jing said. Even without Lu Jing saying anything, he had already thought of this point. Furthermore, in the past, Yi Hua wanted to usurp the throne. "Do you think that I, the Supreme Overlord, don't know about it? Not only did you deceive everyone, you even deceived a foolish young lady to love you without any regrets. I reckon that Qian Yuqing is also a chess piece in your hands, right? Otherwise, on the day of your wedding, before the wedding ceremony even ended, you already wanted to send your head to someone else. If it is true love, then the ceremony should have already ended, right? If that is the case, the emperor's eyesight is still very bright. If that is the case, doesn't that mean that I, the Supreme Overlord, am a scapegoat? I, the Supreme Overlord. Thinking about it, this is indeed the case. Yi Hua, when you returned last night, that sky-bearing empire definitely told the news to the emperor. The emperor announced the marriage announcement early in the morning. It is impossible for you to not know the reason behind it, right? The emperor is just looking for an excuse to continue getting rid of you. The more Lu Jing spoke, the more scared she became. Accompanying a monarch is like accompanying a tiger, this sentence is not wrong. When the emperor is happy, you are a popular person, but when the emperor is angry, you are a dead person. A person's life and death is in the hands of the emperor, and the emperor can do whatever he wants to do. Tonight, the emperor is hosting a banquet. No matter how angry you are, do not get angry. If you beat up Yishan, no one will say anything, but if you beat up a member of the royal family, then it will be troublesome. In short, do not give the emperor an excuse to kill you, do you understand? Lu Jing advised painstakingly. She felt that Yihua's appearance was not a good thing. If I knew this would happen, I would have let Yihua be an emperor and not interfere with the matters of the higher-ups. After hearing that, Yihua nodded his head. If I, the supreme overlord, am unable to even deduce this point, then what am I supposed to be doing? Regarding Yuqing's matter, you don't have to take it to heart, it is all the emperor's doing. Yihua did not say anything, maintaining silence was the glorious tradition of the Golden Family. Alright, that is all that mother has to say. Prepare for the banquet properly, mother will prepare supper and wait for you to return. Lu Jing held onto her son's hand and said with a slight smile, her gaze was filled with doting. This kind of gaze, Yihua would never get tired of it, because this kind of gaze has never appeared before, not even Qingye and Dong Wang Baiji have this kind of feeling. In the entire 3,000 worlds, only mother alone is able to make me feel a different kind of warmth. Seems like I have come to the right place this time. Yihua walked out of the courtyard, and Yi Juetian who was standing at the side hurriedly chased after Yihua. Big brother, what did mother say? She just told me to be careful. Yihua said faintly. Big brother, you have to be careful, you also have to go and comfort sister-in-law. Yihua did not say anything and walked towards his room. Chapter 994. This time, Yi Juetian still decided to go over and see how big sister-in-law was doing. This big brother is muddle-headed, I have to go and explain to him to prevent sister-in-law from becoming mentally and physically exhausted. If she really ends up marrying Huang Yun, it would be over. Why are you following me? Yihua asked faintly. Big brother, I am going to look for big sister-in-law. Why are you looking for her? Big brother, could it be that you have the heart to watch big sister-in-law marry another man? Yi Juetian was puzzled. In the past, big brother was rather overbearing. Yihua snorted, none of my business. Big brother, just continue to be stubborn. I want to see how long big brother can be stubborn for. After finished speaking, Yi Juetian walked away angrily. When Yihua returned to his room, he discovered that Yi Juetian had long entered the secret passageway. Not long later, Yi Juetian arrived at Qian Yuqing's room. The first thing he did was to knock on the door. Qian Yuqing was currently crying loudly on the bed, and she was unable to stop crying at all. I have done so many things for Yihua, but in the end, Yihua hurt me deeply, and even said that he doesn't want me anymore, and even told me to scram. Yi Juetian knocked for a long time, but no one came over. Thus, he carefully pried open the door and took a look, and a choking sound rang out in his mind. Yi Juetian hurriedly crawled out and looked at his big sister-in-law who was lying on the bed. Sister-in-law, calm down. Yi Juetian walked behind Qian Yuqing and consoled her. With someone consoling her, Qian Yuqing cried even more fiercely. Yi Juetian had no way of dealing with girls crying. He could only forcefully explain, sister-in-law, you have to think about why big brother is provoking you. Why? Qian Yuqing asked while choking with sobs. That sobbing sound made one's heart ache. This kind of woman, there is actually a man who made her angry. Is it because you have too many goddesses in your family? If you have the ability, give me one as well. Big brother is protecting you and not letting you get involved in this mess. Yi Juetian said blindly. Just now, he had a flash of inspiration. Saying it like that doesn't seem to be wrong, right? Hearing Yi Juetian's words, Qian Yuqing immediately stopped crying and asked seriously, is it true? Qian Yuqing would rather believe such a lie than Yi Hua's heartlessness. Sister-in-law, think about it. The emperor is obviously targeting Big Brother, and he's using you to mess things up. Big Brother will feel sorry for you, so he's acting very fierce to let the emperor know that Big Brother doesn't matter now. After Yi Juetian said that, he felt that it was still alright. It couldn't be that Big Bro was real, right? It was as though he was speaking the truth. After Qian Yuqing heard this, she furrowed her eyebrows and thought about it carefully. She felt that what Yi Juetian said was very correct. It was exactly like this. Idiot, you used such a method to protect Yuqing, and Yuqing actually believed it. You bad guy, you tricked Yuqing into crying as soon as you came back. I'll ignore you from now on. Seeing that his sister-in-law wasn't sad anymore, Yi Juetian felt relieved. You see, Big Brother and sister-in-law still need me, the younger brother, to deal with this kind of thing. You guys are really worrisome. Xiao Tian, I understand, I will cooperate with Yi Hua. Since she knew that Yi Hua said those words for her sake, she would definitely not waste Yi Hua's painstaking efforts. Cooperate. Yi Juetian was a bit stupefied. Sister-in-law, what are you going to cooperate with Big Brother for? Can't you be more clear about it? I'm a bit confused. However, right at this moment, footsteps rang out from outside. Yuqing, are you there? This was the voice of Qian Yuqing's father. Yi Juetian was startled. Qian Yuqing pointed at the bottom of the bed. Yi Juetian had no other choice. Last time, I hid under the table, and now, I have to hide under the bed. Why is it that the one who gets hurt is always me, Yi Juetian? Big Brother, Little Brother has done so many things for you, you have to introduce a beauty to Little Brother. Little Brother definitely has good looks compared to those subordinates of yours, can you introduce one or two of them to Little Brother? Father, please come in. Qian Yuqing called out lightly. Qian Yi opened the door and walked in. Seeing that her daughter's eyes were red, her heart ached. Yuqing, cheer up, this is fate. Qian Yi clearly knew that Yi Hua didn't die, and she was very astonished. No wonder the emperor thought things through, so it was all because of Yi Hua's return. My own daughter actually became a bargaining chip in their game of chess. Qian Yuqing rubbed her red and swollen eyes and said lightly, Father, I know that this is Yuqing's fate. Yi Hua had just returned, and His Majesty had already given the decree. What else can Yuqing do? Yuqing, my daughter. Qian Yi was also very distressed. My beloved man has returned, and yet, he made such a move and became a bargaining chip in their game of chess. As a father, how can I not be distressed? Yi Juetian, who was hiding under the bed, sighed. Sister-in-law's lies are pretty good. This woman, seems like she has a talent for acting. As long as she wants to speak, she would be able to come up with all kinds of lies. Qian Yuqing didn't even know how she was acting, and with a trace of despair, she said, Father, Yuqing is already so big, you have to think for Father's sake. If Yuqing were to oppose this marriage, Father would be pushed aside. Yuqing doesn't want to be the sinner of Qian family. Qian Yi held on to her daughter's hands, and tears flowed down from her eyes. Yuqing, Father has let you down. Seeing that her father was actually crying, Qian Yuqing felt a bit guilty in her heart. I will just apologize to my father in the future. Yuqing, just now, His Majesty sent someone over to pass down an order. Tonight, he is going to invite Yi Hua, and your identity will be Huang Yun's fiancé, do you understand? Hearing what her father said, Qian Yuqing was still shocked in her heart. I am actually going to be Huang Yun's fiancé. Seems like His Majesty's main purpose is to make Yi Hua angry and make Yi Hua lose face. I really didn't expect that His Majesty was going to give Yi Hua a feast at Hongmen tonight. Yi Juetian, who was hiding under the bed, knew that that eunuch was definitely the first to come to Yi family, and then to come to Qian family. Yu Qing, I know what you are thinking in your heart, but right now, there is no other way. You have to be clear about your own position. Although Yi Hua is a prince right now, he is still a prince without any real power. If he were to do anything, the emperor would definitely take action. Qian Yi was a sensible person, and she knew the pros and cons of this matter. To be more precise, everyone in Spiritual City knew that the current Yi Hua was a god of plague, and whoever came into contact with him would die. To be frank, no one dared to come into contact with Yi Hua, and those who came into contact with Yi Hua would become everyone's enemy. Qian Yuqing nodded her head. Father, you can be at ease. After so many years have passed, I have already thought things through. After hearing what her father said, Qian Yi felt very gratified. As expected of my daughter, she is finally sensible and obedient. After marrying Huang Yun, she will also be like an empress. No matter how I think about it, marrying Huang Yun right now is the most suitable choice. This might be my daughter's destiny. Chapter 995. Qian Yi let out a breath and patted her daughter's shoulder. Yuqing, have a good rest. Dress up tonight and enter the palace with father. Qian Yuqing lightly bit her lips and nodded. Qian Yi let out another sigh and walked out of the room. Seeing that her father had left, Qian Yuqing also let out a breath of relief. Little Tian, you can come out now. Yi Juetian crawled out from under the bed with a face full of melancholy. Sister-in-law, I will be going back first. Qian Yuqing nodded her head. She would rather believe that Yi Hua did it to protect her than to believe that Yi Hua really told her to scram. Just thinking about it made her feel warm in her heart. At this moment, inside the palace, Emperor Huang Feidi was currently listening to the report of his eunuch. Do you think that this Yi Hua is the Yi Hua from back then? Huang Feidi stood beside the window and looked at the garden outside as he asked softly. Your Majesty, this old servant thinks that this is the Yi Hua from back then. The eunuch lowered his head and said respectfully. Huang Feidi nodded his head. This eunuch had followed me for close to 10,000 years. This kind of judgment is trustworthy. Furthermore, tonight, I will be able to see if this Yi Hua is real or fake and if I can make an issue out of this. By the way, how is his reaction today? Huang Feidi asked faintly. Your Majesty, Yi Hua's reaction today seems to be filled with anger. Hearing that, Huang Feidi laughed lightly. It's good that he is angry. If he isn't angry, then he wouldn't be called Yi Hua. Your Majesty is wise. The eunuch seized the opportunity to flatter Huang Feidi. Alright, you can go and prepare first. I heard that Yi Yuanqing is coming back today, and I intend to give her a surprise. Huang Feidi said with a strange smile. The eunuch was actually very curious about what kind of surprise it was, but he didn't dare to ask. Yes. This old servant will take his leave. After the eunuch left, Huang Feidi said softly, Yi Hua, isn't your life quite good outside? Why did you come back to suffer? Or do you want to die again? The entire palace was decorated with lanterns and colored banners, preparing for the banquet at night. Not only in the palace, the entire spiritual capital was the same. Every single household actually hung up a red lantern, seemingly as if they were celebrating Yi Hua's return. This kind of reputation is simply unparalleled. Even the current royal cloud couldn't do this. Once again, it showed that Yi Hua was already deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. At this moment, in the tea house of spiritual capital, everyone was discussing and gossiping. Seemingly, everyone was discussing how Yi Hua was able to survive, and what was his purpose for coming back this time. Did you guys hear? Lord Yi has lost his memory now. He has forgotten everything in the past. Really? Did he lose his memory? I heard that Lord Yu was very angry when he saw that Qian Yuqing was going to marry the ninth prince. At this moment, a man in a green cloak said, "This is really disappointing. Brother, what do you think?" The green-cloaked man said with a trace of worry, "To think that I, Prince Yi, got rid of evil for the people 1,000 years ago, and only then did I manage to obtain the peaceful spiritual city that we have today. Yet, the only woman that I deeply loved, yet, when I returned, she married someone else. Isn't this making the soldiers bitterly disappointed?" But I heard that both parties agreed on this. The green-cloaked man said in a low voice, "Is Qian Yuqing that kind of woman?" After finished speaking, the green-cloaked man walked out of the tea-house. However, everyone in the tea-house was thinking about the question from just now, and the more they thought about it, the more they felt that was the case. This Lord Yi is truly pitiful. He just came back, and his wife is going to marry someone else. That's right, and it was even the emperor who personally gave the decree. Does this count as snatching away his wife's love? Seems like the emperor doesn't treat Lord Yi as well as we thought. Sho, if you say this softly, if someone were to hear it, your head would be chopped off. Thank you for your reminder, brother. However, this kind of topic was still very popular, and even spread out. Everyone was discussing about it. Of course, there was also the matter of what was going to happen during tonight's banquet. This truly made everyone curious. Right now, Yi Hua was thinking about the question. Hearing the sound of the floorboard, Yi Juetian slowly crawled out. "Big brother, I have returned." Yi Juetian was already at ease. Sister-in-law had already been coaxed to be happy, and there was no need for her to be angry or not. After hearing that, Yi Hua didn't say anything. Yi Juetian looked at his big brother's expression, then let out a deep sigh. "Big brother, do you know what sister-in-law was doing when I went over just now?" Yi Hua still didn't say anything, but Yi Juetian discovered that his big brother wanted to ask, but was too embarrassed to ask. "Sister-in-law actually, she's at, forget it, it's better that I don't say it, in case big brother gets sad after hearing it." "Yi Hua, no matter what you say, I won't be interested," Yi Hua said indifferently. Yi Juetian said in a low voice, "Big brother, if I was a step late just now, sister-in-law would have died." "Oh. Big brother, sister-in-law committed suicide by hanging herself." Yi Hua laughed lightly. "Deity, committing suicide by hanging herself, can't you be a bit more realistic when you are lying?" "Big brother, it's the truth. Sister-in-law no longer has any hope to continue living anymore." "Big brother, if you tell sister-in-law to scram, sister-in-law will feel that she has completely scram, so as to not let big brother's eyes feel uncomfortable. Are you done speaking?" "Big brother, sister-in-law said that if you are willing, she will elope with you." Yi Hua drank a mouthful of tea, and felt that it wasn't as good as Daji's tea. "Big brother, are you even listening to what I'm saying?" "Not at all." Yi Juetian was at his wit's end. "I already said that sister-in-law is in such a miserable state, but big brother actually doesn't feel a bit of heartache. This isn't a good sign. Big brother, let's not talk about other things first. During the banquet tonight, you must be calm, don't lose your temper, and don't hit people." In actuality, what Yi Juetian wanted to say was, "Don't hit father just because you don't agree with him, this will make father lose a lot of face." Yi Hua said faintly, "I am looking forward to the banquet, it should be very interesting, right?" Yi Juetian was puzzled. Why is my big brother so calm? In the past, he was like this, and now, he is still like this. This kind of temperament is simply impossible to learn. Seems like I won't be able to surpass big brother in this lifetime. At noon, Yi Hua and Yi Juetian went to their mother's courtyard, because their mother had personally cooked some delicious dishes. When Lu Jing saw that her two sons were accompanying her to eat, she felt as happy as she could be. I feel that I don't even need to continue drinking the divine spring anymore. Yi Hua, remember not to get angry tonight. As a mother, Lu Jing had no choice but to repeatedly remind Yi Hua. After hearing that, Yi Hua didn't feel that Lu Jing was long-winded, rather, he felt that Lu Jing was very warm, and thus, he nodded his head. Chapter 996. Regarding tonight's banquet, there is absolutely nothing to be afraid of. I, the Supreme Overlord, have experienced all sorts of situations before. This emperor wants to play with my brain. Sure. I'll take it. He liked people who weren't afraid of death. Who would have thought that something like this would happen on this trip? It was a good way to kill some time. Yuqing didn't have a choice. Yi Hua, don't blame others, okay? Lu Jing said attentively. Yi Juetian also persuaded, that's right, big brother, it's not easy for big sister-in-law. Hearing that, Yi Hua remained silent, causing Lu Jing and Yi Juetian to not know what Yi Hua's attitude was. However, at this moment, a beautiful figure appeared at the door. This woman was wearing a velvet armor. Her face was exquisite, and her figure was hot. She belonged to the type that had voluptuous breasts and was full of heroic spirit. There was also a beauty mole. This was the second son of the Yi clan, Yi Yuanqing. It had to be said that all the children of the Yi family were handsome. None of them looked bad. Although Yi Yuanqing was a woman, her achievements were the best in the Yi family. Of course, when Yi Hua wasn't around, he was ranked first, and his position was even higher than his father's. Others have to call him General Yi honestly. Yi Hua looked towards Yi Yuanqing who was standing at the entrance of the courtyard. I feel that Yi Yuanqing is not bad, at least, he is much stronger than the others. Yi Yuanqing also looked towards Yi Hua, and disbelief could be seen in her beautiful eyes. Big brother is actually still alive. I thought he was joking. That's impossible, isn't it? But now that the truth was right in front of him, he had no choice but to believe it. Yi Yuanqing took a deep breath and walked over. Her steps were sonorous and powerful, showing off the domineering aura of a tomboy. Her armor rubbed against each other, making her look very dignified. Aunt Lu, Yi Yuanqing greeted respectfully. Lu Jing looked at Yi Yuanqing with a smile. Yi Yuanqing was the one she didn't dislike the most among these children. Yuanqing, sit down and eat with us. Yi Yuanqing didn't stand on ceremony and nodded. Yi Juetian stood up, and still obediently called out, second sister. Little Tian. Yi Yuanqing smiled and called out. Afterward, Yi Hua looked towards Yi Hua and shouted out respectfully, big brother. After hearing that, Yi Hua didn't make a sound, as if the other person wasn't calling out to him. Yi Juetian winked at Yi Yuanqing, then pointed at his own head. Yi Yuanqing felt that Yi Juetian was saying that his big brother's brain was stuck in a door. Big brother, how have you been all these years? Yi Yuanqing who sat down asked curiously. Just like Yi Juetian, Yi Yuanqing had viewed Yi Hua as his idol since young. Yi Juetian wanted to become a man like his big brother, but Yi Yuanqing was different, she wanted to surpass her big brother. Yi Hua said faintly, I'm all right. Yi Yuanqing felt that his big brother was the same as before and there was no difference at all. However, this was a familiar feeling. If his big brother had become a mischievous person like Yi Juetian, he would have been disappointed. This kind of big brother gave people a sense of deterrence. Yuanqing, you haven't been home for so many years. How are you over there? Lu Jing asked with concern. After Yi Hua died, Yi Yuanqing took over Yi Hua's position. However, Yi Yuanqing was a bald general and did not have any soldiers under him. However, after developing for so long, Yi Yuanqing relied on himself and developed his own subordinates. Right now, Yi Yuanqing was guarding the borders and protecting this piece of land. Auntie Lu, the border is doing very well. It has been very peaceful in recent years, said Yi Yuanqing gently. That's good. Actually, your mother hopes that you can get married as soon as possible and not fight and kill like a boy. Auntie Lu, I will consider it. Towards Yi Yuanqing's words, Lu Jing wouldn't believe them. This lady seems to be planning to stay single for the rest of her life. Second sister, now that you are back, father will definitely arrange another blind date for you. Yi Juetian couldn't help but tease. In this generation of Yi family, there hasn't been anyone who got married yet. Of course, other than Big Brother, there hasn't been anyone who got married yet. Yi Yuanqing said with a joking tone, if you aren't afraid of my fists, you can come and give it a try. Second sister, you are so awesome. Little Tian, you aren't young anymore, why haven't I seen you looking for someone? Auntie Lu must be very anxious right now. From the looks of it, Yi Yuanqing's mood today was still pretty good, to be able to joke around. One must know that the Yi Yuanqing in the past wouldn't be like this. Lu Jing laughed helplessly, sigh, I still want to carry a grandson. Mother, when the time comes, let Big Brother introduce some to me. Back then, I saw quite a few beauties. Even now, Yi Juetian was still thinking about Yi Hua's subordinates. Lu Jing said with a teasing tone, Yi Hua, as the big brother, you have to take a good look at your little brother. Yi Hua nodded his head. This little brother of mine actually has his eyes on my subordinates, this is a bit interesting. Among my subordinates, there don't seem to be many who are single. I wonder if Yi Zizi is willing to have a chat with me. Probably not, Yi Zizi belongs to that kind of clan that doesn't get married. All the other subordinates seem to already have men. Big brother, do you have any plans this time? Yi Yuanqing asked curiously. Nothing much, I just want to take a look. When Yi Hua just came over, he indeed didn't have any plans. However, it was different now. Since the other party had already made a move, I definitely wouldn't back down. Then, big sister-in-law. Yi Hua said indifferently, I have 3 wives right now. Ah. Yi Yuanqing cried out in surprise. Big brother doesn't look like that kind of fickle man, and yet, he actually has 3 wives right now. My God. I have truly underestimated Big Brother. Yi Juetian gave Yi Yuanqing a meaningful glance, telling him not to mention Qian Yuqing. Yi Yuanqing, who was rushing back home, didn't know about the marriage news yet. However, he would know about it later. Yi Hua said calmly, as for the big sister-in-law that you all are talking about, let her marry into the royal family and fulfill her wish. After hearing that, Yi Yuanqing had a puzzled look on his face. How is it possible for big sister-in-law to marry into the royal family? Lu Jing and Yi Juetian sighed helplessly. This Yi Hua's ability to get jealous is too great, right? He is simply the king of jealousy. In the past, he was even called the king of jealousy in the cultivation world by Qinya. Yi Juetian added, second big sister, just this morning, His Majesty had already given the decree to betroth big sister-in-law to the 9th prince. Impossible. In the past. Yi Yuanqing stopped speaking here. In the past was in the past, right now is the present. His Majesty is definitely making an issue out of big sister-in-law. From the looks of it, Big Brother's return this time didn't make the Emperor happy at all. Big Brother, you have to be careful. Yi Yuanqing said concernedly. Yi Hua felt that this brotherly affection isn't bad. A biological younger brother's concern, and a half-sister who shares the same father but has a different mother. The emotions of humans sure are mysterious, and it makes me feel rather happy. Should I give the world an amnesty? Yi Hua nodded his head. Maintaining his usual style, speak less and do more. Yuanqing, after you finish eating, go back and visit mother, your mother misses you a lot. Aunt Lo, I understand. Yi Yuanqing said respectfully. Chapter 997. The meal lasted for half an hour, and they even drank a little wine in the middle. Lu Jing was also very happy. If her daughter-in-law was here, it would be even more perfect. In the afternoon, Yi Hua lay in his room and slept. He was thinking about what to do at night. How should I play to be cool? It's a pity that there's no one to play with me. While thinking, Yi Hua actually fell asleep, and it was a very dead kind of sleep. Not knowing how long had passed, a hurried knocking sound rang out from outside the door. Big brother. Big brother. Are you there? This was the sound of Yi Yuanqing knocking on the door. Yi Hua, who was lying on the bed, squinted his eyes and saw that the day outside had already turned into night. I'm here. Yi Hua replied. Big brother, we are going to set off. All right. Yi Hua sat up. He was still wearing a black robe, there was no change to it. When I was on Earth, I liked to wear black suits, and when I was here, I liked to wear black robes, which made me look reserved and calm. Yi Hua opened the door and saw Yi Yuanqing, who was dressed like a girl. I haven't dressed like this for a long time, I'm not used to it. Yi Yuanqing said in a low voice. It's good. Yi Hua said faintly. To be able to receive the approval of me is also a kind of blessing. As expected, after hearing Big Brother's approval, Yi Yuanqing didn't feel that awkward anymore. Big brother, I heard from third and fourth brother that you beat up father, is this true? Yi Yuanqing found it hard to believe. When did Big Brother become so awesome, to even beat up father? And, it's true. Yi Hua said indifferently, as if he did something insignificant. Originally, Yi Hua thought that Yi Yuanqing would speak up for Yi Shan, but who knew that Yi Yuanqing would actually give him a thumbs up? This little sister has quite a personality, I like her a little. Don't misunderstand, this kind of liking is different from that kind of liking. Big brother, you are very handsome today. And I know. Yi Yuanqing lowered her head and smiled lightly. Big brother is still so frank, he doesn't know how to compliment me at all. As the little sister, Yi Yuanqing walked behind Yi Hua. In actuality, Yi Yuanqing is also a general now, so it is normal for her to walk side by side with him. However, Yi Yuanqing felt that she didn't surpass Big Brother at all, so she couldn't walk side by side with Big Brother yet. Yi Hua didn't really care about these etiquettes, after all, the number of people who are able to walk at the same pace as me are too few. In the entire Yi clan, only Yi Shan and Yi Yuanqing were officials. Even Yi Qin did not have an official position. This was also the emperor's intention. He did not want too many people in the Yi clan to interfere in politics. After all, Yi family had Yi Hua. Yi Shan felt that everything that happened was all Yi Hua's fault, and if it wasn't for Yi Hua, Yi family would have long reached the top. Would he still end up in a second-rate family? Being laughed at by others. The carriage was already parked outside. The one sitting in the front was Yi Shan's. As a junior, he could only sit in the back. Yi Hua and Yi Yuanqing directly sat on the carriage at the back, and the carriage headed towards the imperial palace. In the carriage, Yi Yuanqing didn't know what to say when he saw how calm his elder brother was. Comfort Big Brother. It seemed that Big Brother didn't need to be comforted at all. If he encountered such a thing, he would definitely be anxious. Even if he didn't show it, he would feel anxious in his heart. However, he felt that his big brother didn't take it to heart at all. He really didn't know how his big brother managed to cultivate such a state of mind. Yi family wasn't very far away from the imperial palace, and sitting in a carriage was also a kind of status symbol. No matter what, it was still Yi family. If they were to walk, wouldn't it be very degrading? The three arrived at the entrance of the imperial palace and got off the carriage. When Yi Hua got off the carriage, everyone in the surroundings went into a daze. This is the legendary Yi Hua. Prince Yi. The only prince with an outsider surname. We pay our respects to Prince Yi. The imperial guards in the surroundings all shouted out in a low voice, and their voices were definitely able to be transmitted into the imperial palace. Yi Hua said faintly, "Get up." Everyone felt an imposing aura coming from Yi Hua. Those 3 words were said too easily, too naturally, as if he had already been a prince for many years. Yi Shan stood at the side and didn't say anything. It would be a lie if he didn't feel angry in his heart. Being beaten up by his son was truly a type of grievance. This was also the first time he was beaten up by his son, and it was the kind where he didn't even have the strength to fight back. Yi Yuanqing felt that the distance between him and his big brother had become a bit further. I thought that after 1,000 years, the distance between me and big brother should have become closer, but it turns out that it didn't. The people who were queuing at the back also looked at Yi Hua with astonishment in their eyes. It's really him. He came back. He is even more domineering than before. It used to be General Yi, but now it's Prince Yi. Greetings, General Yi, the guard greeted Yi Yuanqing respectfully. If Yi Hua was not here, Yi Shan would feel very proud. Everyone felt that the Yi family was going to rise again. The combination of the prince and the general would probably return to the situation in the past. Was the Yi family going to be the dominant family again? Was the lesson from back then not deep enough? Yi Hua directly walked towards the palace, and Yi Yuanqing followed behind him. On the other hand, how could Yi Shan follow behind his son? So, as a father, he would go in after they left. Yi Hua looked at the enormous imperial palace. Compared to my Wushu Empire, this place is slightly inferior. This place is filled with a sense of age. Yi Hua's imperial palace was considered to be too new. Yi Hua's imperial palace was too new. Big brother, how do you feel? Yi Yuanqing asked curiously. Yi Hua said faintly, not bad. Prince Yi, long time no see. Prime Minister Shan Junren greeted with a smile on his face. Yi Yuanqing still wanted to attack and shouted, Prime Minister. Yuanqing, long time no see. You are getting more and more beautiful. Did you find a good family? Prime Minister Shan asked curiously. Yi Yuanqing smiled amiably, there is no hurry now, let's talk about it in the future. Yuanqing, marriage has always been decided by parents, you have to think more about it. Prime Minister Shan said with a teasing tone. Prime Minister is right. Prince Yi, let's go in. You are the main character today, without you, there would be less joy. Yi Hua said lightly, if I am not here, you all should be even happier. Ha, Prince Yi sure knows how to joke. Yi Yuanqing, who was standing at the side, felt that big brother had become more tactful. Not only Yi Yuanqing thought so, Shan Junren also felt that this Yi Hua is much better at using his brain than before. In the past, Yi Hua was a one-track-minded person, but now, he is actually so experienced. It seems like during these few years, this fellow has never given up and is constantly training his brain. On this point, Shan Junren guessed correctly. Yi Hua trained his brain by watching Calabash brothers saving his grandfather. Just when the 3 of them walked to the main hall of the imperial palace, a few figures attracted Yi Hua's gaze. Chapter 998. Huang Yun was slightly in front, Qian Yi was on his left, and Qian Yuqing was on his right. Today, Qian Yuqing looked extremely beautiful. This kind of beauty was almost the same as Qingye and the others. They were dressed in festive red robes that were embroidered with exquisite patterns. They matched Huang Yun's robes very well. The 2 of them were dressed in such a way, and their intentions were very clear. Only an unmarried couple would dress like this. Huang Yun was in an exceptionally good mood today. The woman in his heart was finally his. So what if the Yihua came back? His father wanted him dead. He had to die. As for Qian Yuqing, she could marry him with just a word from his father. No matter how awesome you, Yihua, are, the only thing you lack is a father with monstrous power. And I, Huang Yun, only have this old man. You can have him for the rest of your life. Of course, Qian Yuqing also saw Yihua. Qian Yuqing slightly lowered her head, seemingly like she didn't dare to make eye contact with Yihua, just like a child who did something wrong. However, in his heart, he was thinking, since Yihua wants to protect me, then I can't let Yihua worry about me. Furthermore, Yihua definitely has a way to free me from this kind of restriction. I just have to obediently listen to Yihua's words, and it will be fine as long as I don't disrupt Yihua's plans. Yi Yuanqing looked at Huang Yun and his sister-in-law. His gaze was a little shocked. Sister-in-law's appearance. Why did he look so guilty towards his big brother? What was going on? Could it be that sister-in-law was willing to marry Huang Yun? This was impossible. Sister-in-law wasn't that kind of person. Huang Yun and Qian Yi were both sizing up Yihua. Huang Yun appeared to be very calm. Right now, your woman is by my side, what else can you do? If you have the ability, come and snatch it. As long as you dare to. Even if your crime is confirmed, Imperial Father will have 10,000 reasons to execute you. Qian Yi's gaze was different. After all, he was her son-in-law in the past and they often met. At that time, their relationship was quite good. However, the current Yihua made Qian Yi feel that he was very different from the past. Although Yihua's expression is still the same, I feel that compared to the Yihua in the past, this Yihua will be a bit more decisive. In the past, Yihua was a bit sloppy, and this was also his biggest flaw. Right now, Yihua was also looking at the three people, but what Yihua was looking at wasn't Huang Yun. Not Qian Yuqing either. It was Qian Yi. Yihua felt that it was funny in his heart. To think that enemies would actually meet under this kind of environment. This man's ear was chopped off by me in the past. I didn't expect to meet him here. This can also be considered as the first enemy to appear. Should I kill him directly? Lord Yi. Huang Yun greeted with a smile and even bowed. In terms of seniority and position, it was normal for Huang Yun to bow. Yihua looked at this Huang Yun in front of him and felt that this Huang Yun was a worthy opponent. Huang Yun's relationship with Yihua was so stiff, and yet, he was still able to come over and greet Yihua. There are quite a few people like this in the world, and only opponents like this would be interesting. I wonder who is stronger, you or your father. So, it's the 9th prince. Yihua said indifferently. Huang Yun's current state of mind was extremely good. He began introducing Qian Yuqing to Yihua. Prince Yi, this is Qian Yuqing, she is my fiancée. We are going to get married in a few days. Yuqing, hurry up and greet her. Qian Yuqing shook her lips and slightly leaned forward. Prince Yi. Huang Yun didn't know why, but when he heard Qian Yuqing calling Yihua Prince Yi, he felt especially comfortable in his heart, indescribably comfortable, as if he had won against Yihua. Furthermore, he won it from a woman. Snatching money, snatching equipment, there is nothing better than snatching women. This kind of feeling is incomparable. Yihua looked at Qian Yuqing coldly. This gaze caused Huang Yun to feel even more comfortable. No matter how awesome you are, isn't your woman still going to sleep with me? Ha 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 ha. Prince Yi, this is Lord Qian, Yuqing's father. Huang Yun continued introducing. However, this introduction made Yihua a bit surprised. I thought that Qian Yuqing was just an outsider. I really didn't expect that he would be my enemy. He is actually Qian Yuqing's father. This is getting interesting. Prince Yi. Prime Minister Shan Junren could be seen walking over with an amiable smile, and behind him was a young man. This young man was Shan Junren's youngest son, Shan Yu. Shan Yu had a dignified appearance, his eyes were as bright as silver stars, and his body was tall and straight. A man like this should be someone who fought on the battlefield, but looking at Shan Yu's official uniform, he seems to be a civil official. Seems like he is walking on the same path as his father. At this moment, Yi Yuanqing whispered into Yi Hua's ear, "Big brother, this is the Prime Minister, Shan Junren, and beside him is his son, Shan Yu." A trace of an arc suddenly appeared on the corner of Yi Hua's mouth. "Prime Minister Shan, it has been many years since we last met, but you are still the same as before." The attitude that Yi Hua suddenly displayed caused everyone to become speechless. This King drift was too fast, to the point where no one was able to react to it at all. A second ago, it was as if he was looking at everyone as his enemy, and in the next second, he was actually smiling. F*ck me. The speed at which his face changed was simply too fast. Furthermore, he was even smiling towards Prime Minister Shan Junren. Chapter 999. This made Qian Yi extremely happy. In the future, the Empress would be her own daughter. Of course, the Qian family had to grow. Just by looking at Shan Junren's attitude, one could tell that he was already starting to flatter him. Qian Yi also cupped her hands and smiled. "This is all my daughter's good fortune, the heavens are watching over her." "Lord Qian, Lord Yi is still standing here. Don't you think your words are a little unpleasant?" All of a sudden, a voice rang out as a man walked over. He was wearing the same robe as Huang Yun. This person's appearance was somewhat similar to Huang Yun's, but his appearance was slightly mediocre. However, this was not a problem, because he was the first prince. Imperial calendar. Seeing this person approach, the surrounding people respectfully called out, "First prince." Imperial brother. Huang Yun also had to address him respectfully. Yi Hua did not say anything. However, Huang Li walked in front of Yi Hua and said with a smile, "Prince Yi." Yi Hua silently nodded his head. Regarding what Huang Li just said, he felt quite comfortable. Huang Yun was the emperor's most beloved son, so the crown prince would definitely be unhappy. Didn't humans often say that the enemy of an enemy was a friend? Interesting. "Lord Qian, you didn't have this attitude back then," Huang Li said in a teasing tone. He was the only one who dared to say such a thing. The others really didn't have the guts. Shan Junren looked at the first prince's attitude and had some suspicions. In the past, the relationship between the first imperial prince and Yi Hua wasn't very good. Right after Yi Hua returned, the first imperial prince's attitude towards Yi Hua changed. Could it be, the eldest prince was the eldest son after all? Enjoy the priority of inheritance. Now that the position of the crown prince had not been decided, it was hard to say who would win or lose. However, it seemed that the ninth prince had a higher chance of winning. As long as there were no mistakes, the ninth prince would definitely be the crown prince, and then it would be confirmed. But now, the first prince's intention seemed to be to rope in Yi Hua. It wasn't that the first prince had never done such a thing in the past, but in the end, he was definitely rejected by Yi Hua. But at that time, Imperial Cloud did not exist at all, and now he had to continue to rope them in. Furthermore, looking at Yi Hua's attitude just now, he doesn't seem to be disgusted at all. Seems like I have to report this matter to the emperor. At this moment, Qian Yi was extremely embarrassed and did not know what to say. Qian Yuqing also felt uncomfortable standing at the side, as if she was a woman who had abandoned her husband and son. Yi Hua, hurry up and think of a way. Yuqing is embarrassed to even stand here. Don't look at Yuqing like that. Yuqing's body and mind are all yours. This life is yours. Brother Emperor, that's where your words are wrong. Is there anything wrong with a girl getting married when she's of age? Huang Yun was definitely going to stand out and speak up right now. He could not afford to lose face here. However, the two princes standing at the palace gate had already attracted some attention. Huang Li chuckled. Ninth brother, this is called snatching my love away from me. This is a decree from my father. Huang Yun said calmly. Oh. In that case, Yuqing, you need to be careful. This is just Imperial Father's decree. As expected of the eldest prince, he wasn't careless when it came to arguing with others. Seeing the slight change in Huang Yun's expression, Huang Li said, Yuqing, you used to follow Lord Yi around a lot. Why have you changed? The moment these words were said, Huang Yun's expression darkened even more. At this moment, Yi Hua said calmly, once a woman has a change of heart, she will fall out with her husband. That's why, acting cool and smacking faces required cooperation. This Huang Li's cooperation was quite good. Yi Yuanqing, who was at the side, didn't know what his big brother meant. When Qian Yuqing heard what Yi Hua said about her, her heart trembled in pain. She began consoling herself that Yi Hua did this on purpose to protect her. Huang Yun was angry. These two people actually dared to say such things about the woman that I like. How can I tolerate this? Enough. Qian Yuqing is my woman, show some respect. Following Huang Yun's shout, the civil and military officials all looked over. This was the first time that Huang Yun lost his composure. When was it the easiest for a man to lose his composure? It was when it was because of a woman. What is the matter outside? A dignified voice could be heard coming out from within the palace. This caused everyone to tremble. This is the voice of Lingdu's emperor. A eunuch walked forward and shouted, "Enter the palace." Following the eunuch's shout, everyone began entering the palace. Yi Hua looked at the palace of the highest ruler of the gods' realm. Compared to my main body's palace, this palace is just a bit lacking. The one who was sitting on the throne was naturally Huang Feidi. When Huang Feidi saw Yi Hua walking over, Huang Feidi immediately stood up, "Prince Yi, it really is my Prince Yi. Quickly come over and let me take a good look at you." This was also the first time that Yi Hua saw the Emperor of God's realm. The feeling he got was pretty good. At the very least, this Emperor's aura are the best that I have ever seen. Since I am the Yi Hua of the past, I have to play this role well. Yi Hua walked towards the Emperor. As long as I, the Supreme Overlord, wish to, I will be able to twist off the Emperor's head right now. However, if I do that, I will lose a lot of fun. Since he wants to play with his brain, I, the Supreme Overlord, am willing to accompany him. Huang Feidi sized up Yi Hua. If this Yi Hua is a fake, Huang Feidi doesn't really believe it. The feeling that this Yi Hua gives me is exactly the same as the Yi Hua of the past. However, even if that was the case, Huang Feidi would rather that this Yi Hua was a fake. If that was the case, it would just be a false alarm. Huang Feidi could be seen patting onto Yi Hua's shoulders. "Yi Hua, it's good that nothing happened. This is a blessing for spiritual capital. It's a blessing for the people." Yi Hua also put on an act and said, "Thanks to your Majesty's protection, Yi Hua was able to escape death." "Ha ha ha, Yi Hua, let's not talk about other things tonight, let's drink to our heart's content." Yi Hua nodded his head. "You, the Emperor, just want to drink to your heart's content. I don't believe you. You should have already arranged the following programs, right?" Indeed, Huang Feidi seemed to be very happy. However, this kind of attitude of his was all an act that he put on for all of the civil and military officials to see. Huang Feidi wanted the officials to spread the news of what happened tonight. "Seeing that Yi Hua has returned, I am so happy. Prince Yi, take a seat of honor," Huang Feidi said with a slight smile. Just now, when Yihua came into contact with Huang Feidi, he discovered that Yihua had changed a bit. However, he was unable to tell what had changed. There were 4 tables below the emperor. On the right side was Yihua's, and on the left side was Prime Minister Shan Juanren's. The first one on the left was Huang Li, and the second one was Huang Yun. However, Huang Yun needed Qian Yuqing by his side. Toward such a situation, everyone felt that the atmosphere was filled with awkwardness. This Qian Yuqing used to be Prince Ye's woman, and right now, she is actually married to a junior. Such a scene is truly rarely seen. Furthermore, Yihua is even sitting there as if nothing happened. Just how much courage does he have to do that? However, for people like Qian Yi Yuanqing could only sit at the bottom and not at the top. Chapter 1000. Soon, everyone sat down, and the banquet began. Huang Feidi could be seen holding onto a wine cup and standing up. Today, Prince Yi has survived a great calamity and returned to Lingdu. Let us drink this wine together. Your Majesty is wise. May Prince Yi be healthy. Everyone in the palace drank the wine in one gulp. Everyone knew that tonight wasn't going to be a simple night. After drinking the wine, Huang Feidi sat down with a smile on his face. He looked at Yihua, then looked at Qian Yuqing. This was the atmosphere that he wanted, but it was still lacking a bit. He still needed a fire to ignite Yihua's anger. Soon, the dancers went on stage. Wasn't this kind of banquet just a bunch of officials eating together? It was very simple. Oh right, what were you all arguing about outside the door just now? Huang Feidi asked faintly. It was hard to tell if he was angry or what, but this question was directed at Huang Li and Huang Yun. Huang Yun knew his father's intention, so he directly said, "Father, my brother thinks that I am snatching away his love, which is why I lost my composure." Qian Yuqing, who was sitting at the side, really didn't know what to say. This kind of environment is simply too awkward, and I am the fuse. Beautiful women are indeed troublemakers. Huang Feidi observed Yihua's expression and discovered that Yihua's expression was very normal. Huang Li, did you say that? Huang Feidi asked faintly. Huang Li said respectfully, "Father, I think that it is indeed so." Huang Li's unyielding attitude was clearly seen in everyone's eyes. He was clearly trying to curry favor with Yihua. The emperor was also able to see that, so he didn't criticize Huang Li harshly. Instead, he asked Yihua, "Prince Yi, do you think that this counts as snatching away your love?" Yihua placed down the wine cup and said faintly, "What happened 1,000 years ago is already in the past. Things remain the same, but people have changed." After finished speaking, he picked up the wine cup and drank it in one gulp. Everyone heard it and felt a bit sour in their hearts. His previous wife had now become someone else's. Any man wouldn't be able to accept this. Qian Yuqing didn't want to continue acting, but she knew that she could only continue acting, otherwise, she would be harming Yihua. Qian Yuqing was still able to clearly see the situation. "Prince Yi, you don't blame me, right?" Huang Feidi asked. "No, your Majesty is worrying too much." "That's good. This emperor only found out about Prince Ye's return today. If this emperor knew that Prince Yi had returned, this emperor wouldn't have done such a thing. This emperor offers a toast to Prince Yi." Huang Feidi appeared to be very low profile. Of course, Yihua had to give him face. If not, how would he be able to continue with this show? After drinking, Huang Feidi smiled and said, "Prince Yi, in the 1,000 years that you were not here, they have already fallen in love with each other. But Prince Yi, you can rest assured. This emperor will find an even better woman for you." "Thank you, your Majesty," Yihua said faintly. Huang Feidi smiled, but his heart was troubled. This was different from what he had expected. Yihua's attitude was too cold. This Qian Yuqing was a woman who had bowed to heaven and earth with you in the past. Although it was not completed, it was at least halfway done. Now that she was married to someone else, she could actually face it so calmly without any anger. Initially, I thought that Yihua wouldn't be able to hold himself back from flying into a rage on the spot. If that's the case, I would have a chance. Huang Li, who was sitting on the opposite side, was also very puzzled. Could it be that this Yihua doesn't want to snatch Qian Yuqing back? I can help with this matter, but you have to help me obtain the position of the crown prince. However, the result is not like this. This makes me feel very puzzled. Not only was Huang Li puzzled, everyone else felt puzzled. However, Yi Shan, who was sitting below, was about to pat his chest. Fortunately, this unfilial son of mine didn't flip out. If not, Yi family would be in trouble together with him. Yi Yuanqing, who was sitting beside Yi Shan, didn't believe that big brother didn't have any feelings for big sister-in-law. Look at big sister-in-law's expression. Sometimes, a look of grievance would appear on her face. Big brother, what you said just now was too much. It hurt big sister-in-law's heart. Furthermore, it was repeatedly trampling on big sister-in-law's heart. Big sister-in-law is so pitiful, she is really willing to do anything for Aunt Lu. Where else can I find a woman like her? Yuqing, help me pour the wine. At this moment, Huang Yun suddenly said. After Qian Yuqing sat down, she didn't do anything. Things like pouring wine was something that should have been done by Qian Yuqing. Huang Yun was also a person who cared about his face. If they were sitting alone together, he wouldn't have made such a request. However, right now, all of the officials were watching. No matter what, he had to put on an act. When Huang Feidi heard what Huang Yun said, he was very happy. As long as Yihua is angered, it will be fine. Making Yihua angry, this is probably not a simple matter. If Yihua is angered, a lot of people will die. This kind of anger is not something that an ordinary person can accept. Qian Yuqing knew what Huang Yun meant. As the most beautiful woman in the entire Lingdu and even the entire God's realm, pouring wine for a man would show how powerful that man is. However, should I pour the wine or not? After all, in my entire life, I have only poured wine for my father and Yihua. Seeing that Qian Yuqing didn't move even after a long time, Huang Yun was a bit impatient. Yuqing. At this moment, Huang Li said, Yuqing, if you are unwilling, then forget it, don't force others. Towards Huang Li's words, Huang Feidi didn't have any anger on his face. This caused Shan Junren to feel strange. Just why is His Majesty not stopping Huang Li? Even Huang Yun was puzzled. Why didn't father stop Huang Li from saying such words? Actually, Huang Feidi's thinking is very simple. As long as something happens to Qian Yuqing, it will be able to anger Yihua, so he won't say anything. However, in the eyes of others, it is different. The ninth prince is the son that the emperor dotes on the most. Today, even the most beautiful woman was bestowed to him. Although everyone reckons that this is because of Yihua's return, no matter what, the woman was still bestowed to the ninth prince. However, what happened just now? The eldest prince angrily rebuked the ninth prince, and the emperor tacitly allowed it. Could it be that the ninth prince fell out of favor? Or could it be that the emperor tacitly allowed the eldest prince to compete with the ninth prince? If this is really the case, then the ninth prince's position as the crown prince is not 100% guaranteed. Qian Yuqing secretly took a glance at Yihua and discovered that his gaze is still as cold as ever. However, in order to not disappoint Yihua, I have to be brave. Qian Yuqing held on to the wine pot. This made everyone feel how helpless this woman is. She is truly pitiful, she has become a tool for battle. Seeing that Qian Yuqing picked up the wine pot, Huang Yun felt a lot more comfortable in his heart. This is still giving me face. Seeing that the wine pot is about to be filled to the brim and is about to overflow, Huang Yun stretched out his hand and held on to Qian Yuqing's hand. However, the absent-minded Qian Yuqing suddenly cried out in alarm. The wine pot in her hand directly fell onto the table, and the exquisite food scattered to the side, letting out ear-piercing clanking sounds. Chapter 1001. The wine splashed onto Huang Yun's robe. This made everyone quiet down. Huang Yun, it's not good to hit a woman, right? Huang Li suddenly said, shocking everyone. Did the 9th prince hit Qian Yuqing just now? Is that why she dropped the wine pot in her hand? Isn't the 9th prince too petty? Didn't he just hesitate for a moment? Is there a need to hit someone? Qian Yi, who was sitting below, slightly frowned, seemingly a bit dissatisfied. My daughter is being bullied right now. But what can I do? I can only swallow my anger. However, Qian Yuqing hurriedly said, I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Qian Yuqing felt as if she was being bullied, but she didn't dare to say it out. That kind of grievance made people feel pity for her. Huang Feidy didn't say anything. Looking at Yihua's attitude, can you still sit still? I can't help but admire you. It's fine. Huang Yun smiled and lightly flicked his robe, instantly drying the wine pot. Imperial brother, women are meant to be doted on. Huang Li grabbed onto the opportunity and ridiculed. He simply didn't want to miss any opportunity to defame Huang Yun. Huang Yun said softly, Imperial brother, this is my family's matter, you don't have to worry about it. Huang Li laughed lightly. I can see father's attitude. If it was before, father would definitely teach me a lesson. But today, Yi Hua was here. With Qian Yuqing, no matter how much I ridiculed him, father wouldn't say anything. Yi Hua looked at them silently and didn't say anything. He seemed very quiet. However, Yi Hua's attitude made a lot of people confused. Just what are these people doing? Of course, Yi Hua wouldn't give them a chance. Right now, this is just an appetizer. Later on, the main course should be served. Huang Feidy suddenly smiled and looked at the officials. Today, the emperor is very happy. Among the youngsters sitting here, who else is unmarried? When everyone heard the emperor's words, they started pondering over the emperor's words. The emperor is obviously planning to be a matchmaker. Among the youngsters sitting here, there are a few who are unmarried. Yi Yuanqing was not calm at all. Yi Shan was even more so. The emperor can't be planning to matchmake his daughter, right? This isn't a good thing. After all, his daughter was now a general guarding the border. Once she got married, she would have to take care of her husband and children. Her position would definitely be removed. I was just thinking that it was fake that the emperor didn't attack the Yi family. If the emperor wanted to make a move on his daughter, then the overall strength of the Yi family would drop a few levels. It's all because of this Yi Hua. As soon as he returned, the entire Yi family was dragged down by him. He was a god of plagues, bringing disaster to others wherever he went. At this moment, all the single young men were on tenterhooks, afraid that the emperor himself would give them an inexplicable marriage. Prime Minister Shan, your young master hasn't gotten married yet, right? Huang Feidy suddenly asked Shan Junren. This startled Shan Junren. He didn't understand what the emperor meant, but he still cupped his hands and replied, Your Majesty, my son is unmarried. Oh. Shan Yu. Huang Feidy shouted. Shan Yu, who was seated below, stood up, tidied up his official robes and walked to the center. Your subject is here. What a good young man, he still hasn't gotten married yet. Shan Yu, what kind of woman do you like? Huang Feidy asked. Everyone was trying to guess the emperor's intentions. I feel that this opponent of mine is a bit interesting, he doesn't play by the rules. making me rather happy. Quickly give me a pleasant surprise. Shan Junren looked at his son who was kneeling down, and his brows gradually wrinkled. Could it be that the emperor is thinking of? Shan Yu said respectfully, Your Majesty will make the decision. There's nothing wrong with what Shan Yu said. If Shan Yu said that he likes this and that, the emperor would definitely be dissatisfied. Since the emperor chose me, there must definitely be a plan. Could it be that the emperor wants to go against the emperor's decree? In this god's realm, the emperor who sits on the throne. He is a god. Everything is decided by him. Prime Minister Shan, your son is not bad. Shan Junren turned his head and cupped his hands. Your Majesty, my son is truly unpresentable. TSK. What you said is wrong, I feel that it's fine. Is there any woman here who hasn't gotten married yet? Huang Feidi continued to ask. That question was a bit redundant. In the entire main hall, there was only one woman, Yi Yuanqing, and she just so happened to not have gotten married yet. If the emperor wasn't talking about her, who else would he be talking about? Yi Shan's entire face darkened. As expected, the emperor is going to make a move. The reason why Yi family is able to become the head of a second-rate family is because their daughter is a general. If their daughter gets married, without the position of a general, then Yi family will completely withdraw from the stage of history. His Majesty is going to exterminate Yi Hua to the last man. Not leaving any leeway. Although it is said that Yi Hua married into the Prime Minister's family, in the end, she is still a woman. What can a woman do? She might as well be happier than being a general. Yi Yuanqing is the same. My goal is not to get married, sleep with others, and give birth to children for others. My goal is to surpass my big brother and bravely kill the enemies at the border. But hearing what the emperor said, it is clear that the emperor is targeting me. Right now, Yi Shan didn't know if he should respond to the emperor's words or not. The emperor obviously wants me to take the initiative to offer up my daughter. This way, I won't be talked about by others. But right now, if I don't say it, it would be even less of a problem in the emperor's eyes. Then, the problem now is, should I keep my daughter or should I offer up my daughter? Both of these are dangerous, and neither of them is good. The emperor is forcing me to make a choice. Yi Yuanqing naturally knew what the emperor meant, and also knew what his father was thinking right now. This time, the emperor is determined to get rid of Yi family. To be more precise, the emperor wants to get rid of Big Brother. The atmosphere at the scene was a bit strange. Everyone would secretly look towards Yi Shan. This man who was in the limelight in the past, has now become in dire straits. This is truly the true meaning of life. Right now, it all depends on how this Yi Shan is going to choose. In any case, no matter what choice he makes, the consequences will be the same. It all depends on the emperor's attitude. Yi Hua also looked towards his biological father. I don't have a good impression of him, but I am also curious about what kind of choice my biological father will make. Of course, I also know why the emperor is like this. This is truly an eye-opener for me. Yi Yuanqing's breathing was a bit hurried, and Yi Shan was the same as well. His brain was struggling frantically. My daughter is definitely going to be married off. I might as well give the emperor some face, and it will be easier for me to talk in the future. My daughter is definitely going to be married off. If I were to anger the emperor, that would be a huge problem. After thinking through this problem, Yi Shan stood up and cupped his hands, replying to Your Majesty, my daughter, Yi Yuanqing, is still unmarried. Looking at his biological father taking the initiative to offer up his daughter, Yi Hua sneered in his heart. This kind of man. He can't even protect his family, he might as well just die. Chapter 1002. When everyone saw Yi Shan offering his daughter, they knew that he was helpless, but they still had to look down on his behavior. Yi Yuanqing's face was pale. He clenched his fists so tightly that the veins on the back of his hands were visible. He had worked hard for 1,000 years to achieve what he had today, but in their mouths, it was decided in a second. Right now, Yi Hua looked towards Yi Yuanqing. I, the Supreme Overlord, have quite a good impression of this little sister of mine. Of course, there is also that idiot little brother of mine. Qian Yuqing looked at Yi Yuanqing. Just like her, if a woman wasn't strong enough, she would only be an accessory to a man. Prime Minister Shan, what do you think? Is the in-laws still not satisfied? Huang Feidi took a sip of wine and asked. Shan Junren was a little confused. It was understandable that the emperor wanted to eliminate the Yi family, but why did he want to use his own son? This time, she really couldn't figure out what the emperor was thinking. But no matter what he was thinking, he could only say yes and not no. Your Majesty, of course you're satisfied. Yi Yuanqing is also Prince Ye's sister. In the end, it's my son who took advantage of her. Shan Junren's words were not wrong. He did not offend either side. Huang Feidi narrowed his eyes and asked, Shan Yu, what do you think? Everyone present felt that something was different. If he was asking Shan Junren, it would be fine. But he was asking Shan Yu. Wasn't that belittling Yi Yuanqing? It was just like the brothel choosing girls. Was this suitable or not? Yi Shan's face was slightly red as he stood up. His beloved daughter was like a commodity being chosen by someone. How could he not be angry? But what could he do even if he was angry? This was the palace of Lingdu. Who dared to be presumptuous here? Then he would be King stupid. Shan Yu, who was kneeling on the ground, said respectfully, Lady Yi is talented and beautiful. I'm afraid I'm not worthy of her. Shan Yu's words shocked everyone. Even his father, Shan Junren, was shocked. His son had always been tactful in doing things, but he actually refused at this time. What was the meaning of this? Huang Li and Huang Yun were shocked. Yi Hua felt that this person was a bit interesting. This person is not afraid of power, this person is a real man and not a fake. Just like her biological father, just like a fake man. Yi Yuanqing was a little grateful to Shan Yu. Huang Feidi did not get angry. He said indifferently, Yi Shan. Your subject is here. Are you satisfied with your future son-in-law? Huang Feidi asked directly. Yi Shan lowered his head and swallowed his saliva. His breathing was rapid, and he did not give a straightforward answer. In fact, it could be said that Yi Shan was unhappy. Sitting here today was simply an insult to him. This was all Lord Ye's fault. Yi Hua. It was all because this jinx had returned. Otherwise, how could such a thing happen? Yi Shan. Huang Feidi called out again. This time, his tone was a little more serious. Yi Shan immediately knelt on the ground and said hurriedly, I was overjoyed just now, I am very satisfied. Beneath this satisfaction, there was more helplessness and sadness. Yi Yuanqing's face gradually became pale. I had thought that my fate was in my own hands, but in the end, he still couldn't grasp it. The corner of Huang Feidi's mouth curled up slightly. He asked again, General Yi, are you satisfied with your future husband? In actuality, what Huang Feidi wanted to hear was dissatisfaction, and what he wanted to hear was resistance. After that, Yi Hua would be the one to make the decision. Everything he did was to infuriate Yi Hua and make him lose his rationality. Since Qian Yuqing couldn't do it, then he would start with Yi family. There would definitely be one who could make Yi Hua lose his rationality. Yi Yuanqing slowly stood up. Yi Yuanqing, who wasn't wearing armor, was still incomparably beautiful and full of heroic spirit. Replying to your majesty, I, I am not satisfied. Before Yi Yuanqing could finish speaking, Yi Hua's words came out. Following Yi Hua's words, the entire place immediately became so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard. This Lord Yi actually publicly rebuked the emperor. F***ck. This is too fierce, even the previous Yi Hua wasn't this awesome. Hearing his big brother's voice, Yi Yuanqing felt warmth in his heart. At crucial times, Big Brother is still the most reliable. Meanwhile, Yi Shan, who was kneeling on the side, cursed in his heart. Is this Yi Hua trying to kill Yi family? The emperor is asking Yi Yuanqing, what are you interrupting for? To interrupt when the emperor is speaking, that is a huge disrespect. Huang Yun laughed in his heart. This Yi Hua finally couldn't sit still anymore. Father truly has good eyesight. Right now, Huang Li was a bit worried. Originally, Yi Hua could have ignored everything, but why did he have to rebuke father? This is clearly not allowed. Right now, Qian Yuqing was starting to worry about Yi Hua. The crime of being disrespectful is not small. Yi Hua, just what are you thinking? On the other hand, Huang Feidy was very happy. This Yi Hua finally moved. Lord Yi. Are you dissatisfied with me? Huang Feidy turned his head and looked towards Yi Hua. His tone was very gentle, but when an emperor speaks, even if it was gentle, it would still carry a trace of killing intent. Just now, Yi Hua had a sudden impulse to increase the difficulty for himself. If he didn't say a single word, then tonight would be over just like that. Sometimes, giving in to the opponent was also a kind of behavior that looked down on the opponent. I'm sorry, I have already said everything. Yi Hua said faintly, General Yi guards the borders and protects the peace of our god's realm. Her home should be on the battlefield, and not serving men. Following Yi Hua's words, the atmosphere of the scene became even heavier, and it was as if even the air was about to solidify. Huang Feidy's gaze gradually sunk. This Yi Hua is much more talkative than before. Lord Yi, General Yi is, in the end, a woman. Marrying someone else's wife is also part of the natural order of the world, and giving birth to children is also part of the natural order of the world. Could it be that General Yi is not going to marry in her entire life? Yi Hua said carelessly, Your Majesty, I was just talking to my little sister about this matter today. When choosing a man, one must definitely choose a man who is able to protect himself. Your Majesty, do you think that this sentence is correct? Of course, the men of my god's realm are naturally able to protect their own women. Yi Hua put on an act and said, Your Majesty is wise, that's why I told my little sister that as long as the person is able to defeat your brother will send you to his bed. Yi Hua's words caused the people below to laugh. This Lord Yi is quite humorous. Even Yi Yuanqing's face was a bit red. Big Brother sure knows how to speak nonsense. Yi Shan's face was also red, but it was red from anger. On the other hand, Qian Yuqing was thinking, if you have the ability to carry me to your bed, do you dare? You don't dare at all. Right now, Huang Li felt that this Yi Hua is much more interesting than before, he is not that old-fashioned anymore. However, right now, Shan Junren was a bit unhappy. Doesn't this mean that my son is unable to protect my own woman? However, Shan Yu, who was kneeling below, didn't think this way, because he truly disliked this Yi Yuanqing. This kind of woman who has been on the battlefield, her entire body is filled with killing intent, causing Shan Yu to feel uncomfortable all over. Chapter 1003. Huang Feidy chuckled and said, Prince Yi is really considerate of General Yi. Of course, after all, General Yi is also my little sister. Yi Hua said faintly. What he meant was very clear, if you want to touch General Yi, then you have to deal with me first. Yi Yuanqing was very grateful to his big brother for everything that he had done for me. It has been so many years since we last met, and Big Brother is actually able to protect me like this, even more than how I treat my sister-in-law. It would be great if Big Brother could protect sister-in-law. What if this emperor insists on doing so? Huang Fei-di asked faintly. When these words were spoken, everyone's gaze looked towards Yi Hua, and they were all waiting to see how this Prince Yi would retort back. And how would the emperor choose? Right now, Qian Yuqing only hoped that Yi Hua wouldn't act recklessly. If he were to continue fighting like this, he would end up in a passive situation, and at that time, the emperor would definitely be able to get hold of his weakness. On the other hand, Huang Yun wanted Yi Hua to continue fighting back. Isn't he very awesome? Huang Li and Qian Yuqing's thoughts were the same. Taking a step back at this time, the sea and the sky are wide open. I can slowly plan in the future. Right now, Yi Shan's mood was a bit complicated, but right now, he was basically unable to say anything. In any case, I am going to be killed by Yi Hua. This Yi family is going to be destroyed by Yi Hua's hand sooner or later. Yi Yuanqing gritted her teeth. If her elder brother continued to argue, the emperor might take action. After all, this was a feast at Hongmen. However, was Yi Hua that kind of person who was afraid of trouble? Sometimes, attacking first would add another layer of difficulty to the game. Just as Yi Hua was about to say something, Yi Yuanqing spoke first. This subject thanks your majesty for bestowing this marriage. Yi Yuanqing's words stunned everyone. They all felt that the brother-sister relationship of the Yi family was quite deep. The older brother fought against the emperor for the younger sister, and the younger sister gave up her own ideals for the older brother. Such siblings were indeed rare. Yi Shan never thought that his daughter would do such a thing. It was truly shocking. Qian Yuqing also didn't expect that Yi Yuanqing would actually agree to it. Most likely, this is all so that Yi Hua doesn't offend the emperor. However, right now, Yi Hua was very unhappy. He turned his head and looked towards his little sister with cold eyes. The words that you said just now, isn't it equivalent to saying that I, your brother, am not good enough? You made me lose face. You silly sister, you're not helping your big brother at all, you're making the enemy happy. That's why I, the Supreme Overlord, often say, women are just that their hair is long, but their knowledge is short. Qingye and Dongwang Baiji also had this kind of bad habit. Huang Fei laughed lightly. Huang Fei was also feeling very irritated in his heart. I was just waiting for Yi Hua to come at me. He didn't expect Yi Yuanqing to say such a thing. Prince Yi, it seems that General Yi is quite sensible, don't you think so? Yi Hua knew that things would turn out like this. This emperor is scolding me for being insensible in a roundabout way. Fine. I, the Supreme Overlord, am a person who bears grudges. I, the Supreme Overlord, will remember this debt, and when the time comes, I will let you pay for it with interest. I, the Supreme Overlord, must think of a way. This little sister of mine is just timid, Your Majesty, please don't take offense. Yi Hua laughed lightly. When Huang Fei heard this, his face darkened. Even Shan Junren was the same, and so was every single person sitting here. The meaning behind Yi Hua's words just now was already provoking the emperor. He said that his sister was afraid, but he himself was not. Prince Yi. What do you mean by that? Huang Yun asked in a deep voice. There were some questions that he had to ask himself. Yi Hua looked towards Huang Yun and said faintly, when adults are talking, children should not interrupt. Everyone, according to seniority, in front of Yi Hua, Huang Yun was indeed a child. Huang Yun's expression immediately became bad. This Yi Hua is actually looking at me like a child. Don't you know that the child that you are talking about is going to sleep with your woman? Right now, Huang Fei wanted to get angry, but he didn't have any evidence to use against Yi Hua. If he were to get angry wrongly, his reputation would be affected. I blame myself for giving Yi Hua a posthumous reputation back then. If I didn't, this matter would be much easier to handle. Huang Yun isn't young anymore, isn't he going to get married and have a child soon? I will have to trouble Yuqing then. Huang Feidi isn't someone to be trifled with. Your woman is going to give me a grandson soon, can you endure it or not? Qian Yuqing's face became a bit pale. I won't do that. I definitely won't. If it really comes to that, Yuqing would rather die. Then, congratulations, Your Majesty. Most of the people thought that Yi Hua would go against the emperor again, but the result was surprising. For his sister, Prince Yi dared to go against the emperor, but this former woman didn't receive such treatment. This Qian Yuqing is indeed pitiful. Qian Yi, who was sitting below, couldn't bear to watch anymore. My daughter is just a chess piece that is being manipulated by them. Was my way of doing things wrong? I shouldn't have let my daughter get involved in this power struggle. When Qian Yuqing heard what Yi Hua said, how could she feel good in her heart? Yi Hua, do you still want Yuqing or not? After hearing what Yi Hua said, Huang Feidi laughed loudly, then raised his cup and said, Today, there are two happy events. Let's drink this cup of wine. Your Majesty, blessings. The officials immediately congratulated. The two happy events naturally referred to Huang Yun and Qian Yuqing, as well as Shan Yu and Yi Yuanqing. Looking at the current power struggle, Yi Hua seemed to be losing by a bit. After all, this was an away game, and they had too many advantages. If this matter were to happen in Wushu Empire, hang and beat them up. However, I don't want to use martial strength to hang and beat you all up, that would be too much of a bully. After the cup of wine was finished, the people below returned to their seats. Yi Yuanqing lowered his head and remained silent. Big Brother offended the emperor for me, and I can also give up my future for Big Brother. At the side, Yi Shan was silent. No one knew what he was thinking. Shan Yu's mentality was similar to Yi Yuanqing's. Marrying a woman he didn't like was too dangerous. However, this was the emperor's decree. There was nothing he could do. The banquet was still going on, and Yi Hua was waiting for the emperor to continue making his move. I have to redeem myself. Otherwise, if his subordinates were to find out about this, wouldn't they laugh at him for losing face in someone else's territory? Lord Yi, how did you survive these 1,000 years? How did you manage to escape from death back then? Huang Feidi asked curiously. In actuality, he really wanted to know how Yi Hua had been living all these years, especially how Yi Hua had managed to survive back then. Upon hearing that, Yi Hua laughed lightly. Your Majesty, on that day, there was an expert who helped me, and I was able to preserve my life. However, my injuries were too severe, and during the treatment, I lost my memories. Master. Does Prince Yi still remember what it looks like? Huang Feidi asked in a low voice. Yi Hua said in a low voice, I don't remember what that person looked like, but he brought me to Kangluo continent. Huang Feidi was very confused. What Yi Hua said was different from what Jackdaw said. One of them was definitely lying. Oh. Then, Lord Yi has been living in Kangluo continent for the past 1,000 years. Yes. Yi Hua said faintly. Chapter 1004. Huang Feidi squinted his eyes and looked at Yi Hua. Seems like Your Highness Yi has been living comfortably for the past 1,000 years. Not bad. Yi Hua's tone was still so calm, and his emotions were maintained in a straight line. This caused Huang Feidi to be a bit annoyed. Huang Feidi nodded his head and said with a smile, Oh right, Your Highness Yi, back then, you still have an old subordinate who survived. When he heard that Your Highness Yi has returned, he specially came over to see you. Old subordinate? What is this emperor trying to do again? He clearly knows that I have lost my memory, yet he is still talking about an old subordinate. He is probably here to see if I am real or fake. Oh. I would like to see him. Yi Hua said lightly. Since the emperor has already arranged everything, I will just continue playing the game. Following the eunuch's shout, a middle-aged man walked in. This person was dressed in ordinary clothes and was not very luxurious. The wrinkles on his face were very deep, like many scratches. Although he was no longer on the battlefield, a faint murderous aura bloomed in his eyes. As expected of a veteran soldier. Yi Yuanqing looked at the man who walked in and felt puzzled. I don't recognize this man. Big Brother's bodyguard even brought him home for a drink before, but I have never seen this man before. This commoner, Yang Yao, kowtows to your majesty. May your majesty be blessed. Yang Yao stopped walking and kneeled down. You may rise. Huang Feidy smiled faintly. Thank you, your majesty. Yang Yao stood up and slightly lowered his head. Yang Yao, your former General Yi is sitting here, why didn't you greet him? Huang Feidy asked. It was clear that he was going to target Yi Hua. Yang Yao still lowered his head and said respectfully, Your Majesty, there is a difference between Prince Yi and General Yi. Right after Yang Yao said this, everyone present immediately went into an uproar. This person is definitely someone that the emperor found to trick me. Huang Yun was secretly delighted. This should be another one of father's chess pieces, right? Huang Feidy's expression sunk as he shouted out lightly, audacious. How dare you disrespect Prince Yi? Yi Hua felt that it was funny. In terms of acting, who can be my opponent? This commoner doesn't dare, but this commoner is speaking the truth. Yang Yao was neither servile nor overbearing, appearing very upright and plain-spoken. At this moment, Huang Li suddenly said, Presumptuous, you actually dare to speak arrogantly in front of father. Huang Feidy glanced at his eldest son. The latter's body trembled and he quickly sat down. His father's warning just now was very clear. Huang Yun had seen it as well. Seems like as long as it was someone who was targeting Yi Hua, his father emperor would turn a blind eye to it. However, as long as it was someone who dared to create trouble, his father emperor would definitely not let him off easily. Seems like this brother of mine had misunderstood earlier on. Yang Yao, tell me the truth. If it is not the truth, then it is the crime of deceiving the emperor. Huang Yun shouted coldly. At this moment, it was definitely time for him to step up. His father had already made a good start, so he had to be tactful. This commoner doesn't dare to deceive you, then this commoner shall be bold. Yi Hua was very curious as to how this old subordinate of mine is planning to trick me. I hope that this subordinate will not disappoint me. Yang Yao suddenly cupped his fists and said with a sorrowful tone, I heard that General Yi survived and even returned to Spirit Capital. As a survivor, I'm very happy. Because General Yi can work for the Emperor again, but General Yi, on the other hand, made those deceased undead bitterly disappointed. Following Yang Yao's words, everyone began to ponder. How did they make General Yi feel bitterly disappointed? After General Yi returned, he didn't pay his respects to those deceased undead at all. Back then, if it wasn't for the deputy generals risking their lives to protect General Yi would probably. But towards those deputy generals who saved his life and the 100,000 soldiers, Prince Yi didn't even put them in his heart. How could a general like this not make those deceased undead bitterly disappointed? After hearing that, Yi Yuanqing's expression gradually became grave. The emperor wants to ruin Big Brother's reputation, this is really ruthless. After all, Big Brother has a very high position in the hearts of the people. If Big Brother were to carry a bad reputation, that would be a kind of disguised attack. Little Tian is really too much, why didn't he remind Big Brother? Now that Big Brother is caught by someone else. A lot of people thought of this point. Indeed, Prince Yi should pay his respects to General Yi when he entered the city. Now that he has become a target for others to talk about, the gains do not make up for the losses. Yi Hua originally thought that the emperor would say that it was true or false, but he didn't expect that the emperor would still play the emotional card. This caught me a bit unprepared. After all, I don't know anything about what happened in the past. But this is what makes it interesting. This was originally a normal mode, but now, it should have become a hard mode. Do you think it's that easy to ruin my reputation? Prince Ye's actions are indeed lacking in bearing. Huang Yunqing said, ruthlessly attacking Yi Hua. Xian Yuqing, who was sitting at the side, wished that she could slap Huang Yunqing away. When did you have the right to talk about my man? Scram! Huang Feidi laughed. Huang, you can't blame Prince Yi for this. After all, Prince Yi doesn't even remember, which is why he didn't pay his respects to General Yi. Is Prince Yi like this? Yi Hua felt that Emperor Yi was the most formidable opponent that he had ever met. Emperor Yi was able to completely suppress me, to the point where I couldn't even get out of the situation. However, I, the Supreme Overlord, am not someone who acts according to common sense. I will have to disappoint you. No. Yi Hua said faintly. Following Yi Hua's words, everyone started discussing in low voices once again. Prince Ye's words are a bit lacking in standard. No matter what, those who died were all my old subordinates, and it is only right for me to pay my respects to General Yi. However, some people discovered that this was the second time that Prince Yi spoke against the emperor, and Prince Yi did not give the emperor any face at all. Yi Yuanqing truly admired Big Brother. To even dare to speak against the emperor of God's realm, Big Brother has become even more formidable than before. In the past, Big Brother didn't dare to speak against General Yi directly, and could only use silence to speak against General Yi. But now, Big Brother knows how to speak against General Yi directly. Yi Shan even had the heart to die. My heart hasn't been at ease for a single moment today. To be more precise, ever since Yi Hua came back, I knew that something would happen. Xian Yi's view of Yi Hua was about to change, and I even feel that the Yi Hua in front of me is giving off a familiar feeling. This familiarity isn't the Yi Hua in the past, but I can't remember who it is. Suddenly, Yang Yao let out a wail. All the deceased soldiers, your deaths weren't worth it. I reckon that the show that happened tonight would very quickly spread out, and under the emperor's meticulous arrangements, Yi Hua's reputation would be smeared. Oh. Does Prince Yi think that what I said was wrong? Huang Feidi asked faintly. Yi Hua said lightly, brother, keep it in your heart. If you have the time to pay your respects to General Yi, why don't you think about how to take revenge for General Yi? Hang the skulls of General Yi at the city gate and expose them to the sun until their ashes scatter. When Yi Hua said this, everyone quietened down once again. Even Shan Junren swallowed a mouthful of saliva. This Lord Yi had such guts. To actually say such words. Even Huangli was shocked. As long as one had a bit of brains, they would know that this was father's arrangement. This Prince Yi said that father was a despicable person, and even said that he was going to hang father's head at the city gate. F***K. Why is this Prince Yi so formidable? Chapter 1005. Xian Yuqing looked at Yi Hua, who was emitting a domineering aura, and she felt very elated in her heart. This is my Yi Hua, he is even more formidable than before, to be able to directly threaten the emperor. Yi Shan was in despair. His first thought was that the Yi clan was doomed. Yi Yuanqing really wanted to give him a thumbs up and shout, brother is awesome. When Yi Hua said this sentence, not only did he express his wish to take revenge for the soldiers, he also conveniently ridiculed the emperor. In any case, he was ridiculing the person who was causing trouble behind the scenes. Yi Hua felt that he had made a huge profit out of this, as he was able to reverse the situation that he was in just a moment ago. "Oh, Emperor, if you have the ability, then go ahead and expose it." If he were to admit that he was the mastermind behind all this, the main body would be a little disappointed. After all, if he were to be exposed, it would mean that he would have to use force to solve the problem. Would a problem that could be solved by force still be considered a problem? Huang Feidi didn't expect that Yi Hua would say such a thing. And in front of so many people. He really wanted to chop off his head. In the end, Huang Feidi still underestimated Yi Hua. He thought that Yi Hua was still the same Yi Hua from before, the kind that doesn't know how to speak. "I was still thinking of smearing Yi Hua's name tonight, but I didn't expect that I would be able to let Yi Hua show off his might, and he even wanted to hang me at the city gate." "You have guts. Yi Hua. You have more guts than you did 1,000 years ago. Looks like you still haven't given up on this emperor's seat. I can take back what I gave you back then, and I can do the same now." However, the current Yi Hua was not interested in the throne. Rather, he wanted to do this, and then do that, and then enjoy their expressions of despair. That kind of helplessness should be able to make me feel happy. Huang Feidi chuckled. Prince Ye's words make this emperor blush with shame. I didn't expect Prince Ye to be so righteous. Even though I said that, how can I continue to give Yi Hua the military power? That doesn't exist. It wasn't easy for me to find an excuse to get back Yi Yuanqing's military power. The Yi clan should not be allowed to exist. They were a bunch of unruly people. Always eyeing this emperor's throne, if there is a chance, I will definitely eradicate the entire Yi clan. Kneeling on the ground, Yang Yao frowned. He couldn't let this go. I should perform a bit more. Maybe the emperor will take a fancy to me and give me a job. Yang Yao could be seen suddenly standing up, then pointing at Yi Hua, he shouted, "You are a fake." Following this, everyone's expression changed. Even Huang Feidi's expression sank. This wasn't something he had arranged. Huang Feidi looked at Yang Yao. "If I can prove that Yi Hua is a fake, that would be great. If I am unable to do so, then I would be throwing away my face, and I might even be ridiculed by Yi Hua. However, I am unable to do anything at all, and I feel as sullen as if I have just eaten feces." To put it bluntly, Huang Feidi had his own strengths and weaknesses, and Yi Hua also had his own strengths and weaknesses. The two of them had a tacit understanding, and for the time being, they did not shed all pretenses of cordiality. Huang Feidi was someone who cared a lot about his reputation. If not, after Yehua's death, he wouldn't have been conferred the title of General Shanyong. Huang Li shouted angrily, "How dare you slander Lord Yi? This commoner dares not. This commoner has a way to prove it." Yang Yao was betting everything he had. Today was the day for him to make a comeback. After everyone heard this, they whispered to each other. Tonight was really not a peaceful night. However, this scene was simply too exciting. It had not happened for many years. This Prince Yi was stirring up trouble as soon as he came back. It was very interesting. "Do you know the consequences?" Huang Yun asked. "This commoner is willing to bear all the consequences." Yang Yao appeared very confident. Back then, he had indeed seen General Yi die, so how could General Yi come back to life? How could there be so many miracles in the world? This Prince Yi is most likely a fake. Huang Feidi looked at Yi Hua and asked, "Prince Yi, what do you think about this matter?" Huang Feidi's question wasn't because he was afraid, rather, he didn't want others to say that he was doubting Yi Hua. Others could doubt Yi Hua, but he couldn't. Let's give it a try then. Yi Hua still didn't know what Huang Feidi meant. At the same time, Yi Hua was also very curious about how Huang Feidi was going to prove it. Yang Yao could be seen taking out a white crystal from his sleeve. When everyone saw the crystal, they immediately knew that it wasn't an ordinary item. The crystal was emitting out a serene aura, and it should be an ancient artifact. Yang Yao explained, "This is a spirit gem, it is able to detect all lies." After everyone heard what Yang Yao said, they sucked in a breath of cold air. The first thing that came to their mind was that this spirit gem was given to them by the emperor. In actuality, the emperor was also a bit astonished right now. This matter has become a bit out of control. I have heard of this spirit gem before, and it indeed has such an effect. However, what if this Yihua is real? Right now, I can only hope that this Yihua is fake, because in everyone's heart, they all have their doubts about whether this Yihua is real or fake. It's just that they subconsciously believe that Yihua is not dead. Even Qian Yuqing, Yi Yuanqing, and Yi Shan had the same thoughts. There is nothing more powerful than a real hammer. The atmosphere of the scene was a bit heavy, and everyone was looking at the spirit gem that was floating in the air. It is truly the time to witness a miracle. Yihua stood up and stared at the officials. With this gaze, it was as if he was the emperor. At the very least, in the eyes of the officials, this kind of aura was indeed like that of an emperor. Qian Yuqing looked at Yihua worriedly, hoping that nothing bad will happen to him. Yihua slowly walked down the stairs and stood beside Yang Yao. Yang Yao immediately felt a pressure coming towards him. This pressure is even stronger than General Yi back then. Yang Yao's heart was thumping madly. It seems like it could jump out at any moment. Yihua could be heard saying faintly to everyone, "Since you all want to see it, I will show it to you all." After finished speaking, Yihua held the spirit gem in his hand. Yang Yao let out a sigh of relief. "I thought that Prince Yi was going to kill me just now. Prince Yi, I will ask, and you will answer. If I am not lying, the spirit gem will light up, and if I am lying, the spirit gem will dim down." After hearing that, Yihua nodded his head. "Then, I will test it first. Did Prince Yi drink alcohol just now?" "Yes." Following Yihua's words, the spirit gem in his hand indeed lit up. However, right now, Qian Yuqing was thinking, "Why didn't I ask Yihua if he loves me? Such a good opportunity. Did Prince Yi drink alcohol just now?" No. As expected, the spirit gem dimmed down. However, everyone wanted to scold Yang Yao for being an idiot. What **king good opportunity this is? How could you ask such a stupid question? Huang Feidi was simply about to explode from anger. This is simply an idiot. Drink your **king alcohol. Yang Yao's expression gradually became grave. Prince Yi. Is he the General Yi in the past or not? This should be the question that everyone was concerned about, and right now, they were waiting for Yihua to answer. Yihua looked at everyone and said slowly, "Yes." Everyone stared at the spirit gem in Yihua's hand. If the spirit gem didn't light up, then tonight, there would be bloodshed. Reckon that the entire Yi family would be buried along with the spirit gem. If the spirit gem were to light up, the emperor would definitely have a headache. The good and the bad would be decided by a single thought. Chapter 1006. In actuality, Yihua had 10,000 ways to make the stone light up, but he suddenly didn't want to do it, because Yihua himself wanted to know if he was the Yihua of the past. After waiting for 2 breaths of time, the spirit stone in Yihua's hand still didn't light up, causing everyone to hold their breath. Looking at the situation, Huang Feidi's mouth gradually revealed an arc. As long as I wave my hand, I will be able to kill Yihua. In the royal family, other than Huang Li, everyone was hoping that the damned spirit stone wouldn't light up. However, among the officials, most of them hoped that the spirit stone wouldn't light up. From this, it could be seen how much of a failure Yihua was in the past. However, in the next second, everyone was about to be disappointed. The spirit stone immediately lit up, and the light illuminated the entire hall, to the point that it was a bit dazzling. As the spirit stone lit up, Qian Yuqing was the happiest, and the second happiest was naturally Yi Yuanqing. As expected of Big Brother. The third happiest was Huang Li. It's great that it's real. However, other than these three people, everyone else didn't have much happiness on their faces, including Yi Shan. However, he also let out a sigh of relief. If the spirit stone didn't light up just now, Yi family would probably be finished. Huang Feidi's expression didn't change, but he was feeling very unhappy in his heart. Doing this is basically publicly admitting that Yi Hua is really back. The loss outweighs the gain. This damned Yang Yao. He should have just killed him. He completely messed up my plan. I reckon that tomorrow, the entire city will be shouting that this Yi Hua is even more powerful than today. Right now, Yang Yao was a bit at a loss. This shouldn't be happening. Why did it light up? Why? How can General Yi still be alive? It's impossible. Yi Hua threw the spirit stone in his hand to Yang Yao, and Yang Yao reflexively caught it. Let me ask you a question. Yi Hua said faintly. Everyone swallowed their saliva. They clearly felt that Yi Hua was going to scold the emperor again. Even Huang Feidi's expression changed slightly, and he immediately looked towards Huang Yun. Of course, Huang Yun knew. Huang Li saw it, but he couldn't do anything. Before Yi Hua could ask his question, Huang Yun shouted out angrily, slandering His Highness, this is a death sentence. Yang Yao reacted, and he immediately knelt down and shouted, Emperor. However, he had only managed to say the word Emperor when a bloody hole appeared between his eyebrows. Blood flowed down from between his eyebrows, dripping drop by drop onto the ground. It was a ghastly sight. Above the palace. No one had ever died. However, someone had died today. This was a bad omen. Shan Junren frowned. The blood of the imperial palace. The imperial family was shocked. This meant that someone from the royal family was going to die. Everyone was stunned. They were all thinking the same thing as Shan Junren. This was a prophecy about the crisis of the royal family. However, the person who could bring danger to the royal family was probably Prince Yi, who was standing here. Other than him, there was no one else. Huang Feidi looked at the expressions of the officials and seemed to have realized it. His face gradually darkened. He had been too careless just now. However, there was no other way. If Yi Hua were to ask this question, wouldn't I become the emperor who framed the loyal and virtuous emperor? If such a thing were to spread out, he could forget about continuing to sit on the throne. If this emperor were to make a choice again, it would still be the same. There was nothing much to say. This Lord Yi is smart. How smart? You only said one sentence, but you actually forced this emperor to kill someone in the hall. He even had to suffer the damage of rumors. Not bad. Yi Hua, you have improved. You can be this emperor's opponent now. Yang Yao's primordial spirit could be seen flying out from Yang Yao's body, and Huang Yun stretched out his hand and grabbed onto the primordial spirit. That weak primordial spirit immediately dissipated. Cutting the grass and not pulling out the roots, that would be the worst result. Huang Li swallowed his saliva. Right now, I don't want to say anything. The one who killed someone just now wasn't me. Please don't let this kind of curse land on me. The scene was completely silent, no one dared to breathe loudly. Yi Hua lowered his head and looked towards Yang Yao's corpse. I only wanted to ask if you drank alcohol tonight. This father and son pair killed you just like that, their hearts are truly vicious. Even I have never been so vicious before, sigh. Seems like I am still a good person. At least, compared to them, I am too kind. Yi Hua looked towards the emperor and said lightly, Thank you, your majesty. What a sarcastic sentence. Huang Feidi almost couldn't hold himself back anymore. This Yihua is too arrogant. This Yihua is too arrogant. This is blatantly mocking me. Huang Yun is the same as well. For me to kill my own people, this is already a joke. Qian Yuqing's beautiful eyes rippled. Yihua is so handsome, he is even more handsome than before. However, Qian Yuqing couldn't help but look towards that spirit gem. When the time comes, I will let Yihua grab onto that spirit gem and ask him if he likes me or not. Huang Feidi held back his anger and said with a smile, I had long felt that there was a problem with that person, and as expected, it was Prince Yi who was the one who probed that person out. Men. Drag him out. Yihua sat back onto his seat and said lightly, actually, I wanted to ask him if he drank alcohol tonight. Huang Feidi, like hell I will believe you. However, right now, Huang Yun's expression wasn't very good. Only after killing that person in the palace did he recall something. In the past generations, the royal family had never killed anyone in the palace. The blood of the royal family, the death of the royal family. Damn it. This Yihua. I will cut you into 1,000 pieces. You can be at ease. I will sleep with your woman every day, and let your woman give birth to my children. Furthermore, it will be the kind that will give birth to children endlessly. I will let your soul see me *ck your woman. And you will only be able to watch. Huang Feidi felt that he won the first half, but he lost the second half. From the looks of it, I can only wait for Yun Er's wedding. Or I can start from Yi family. That's right. Kangluo continent. This Yihua should have family members in Kangluo continent, right? Hee, this is a good idea. Yihua, of all the things you shouldn't have done, you shouldn't have come back. And you even dared to provoke me. Thinking up to here, Huang Feidi's mood became much better. Since we are talking about alcohol, let us drink to our heart's content. All of the officials stood up and shouted out respectfully, Your Majesty. However, right after these words were shouted out, an imperial guard could be seen hurriedly running in and shouting out, Report. Under normal circumstances, if there wasn't anything major, the imperial guard would be waiting outside. However, only when there was important military information would the imperial guard rush in without caring about anything else. This point, everyone present knew that the border was in a state of emergency. What happened? Why are you so flustered? Huang Feidi asked gravely. Replying to Your Majesty. The scout reported that Shanghai has gathered an army of 5 million, and 3 days later, they will attack the border, 5 million. Everyone was shocked. An army of 5 million. This was something that Shanghai had never done before. Under normal circumstances, a small-scale army would only have a few tens of thousands of soldiers, and even if it was a large-scale army, it would only have a few 100,000 soldiers. The highest number of soldiers that Shanghai had gathered was only 1 million, and that was when Yihua's group was wiped out. This time, it was actually 5 million. Did Shanghai's people drink fake alcohol? Did they get drunk? Chapter 1007. Following the guard's report, the entire place was silent. Shanghai was invading. The scene was unprecedented. Terrifying. It was too terrifying. A rare look of fear appeared on everyone's face. At this moment, even Huang Feidi was frowning. This matter is too sudden. In the past, Shanghai was just a small place. Why did it suddenly become tough this time? He actually gathered an army of 5 million. Huang Yun suddenly stood up, walked to the center, and knelt down. Father, your son is willing to fight the enemy. Huang Li scolded himself in his heart. He had let Huang Yun seize the initiative again. Huang Li hurriedly appeared and knelt down. Father, I am willing to fight. Yi Hua sat silently at the side. Even if those people from Shanghai were to fight their way to the city gate, it wouldn't be of any concern to me. Yi Yuanqing also walked up and said respectfully, Your Majesty, the war is imminent. Please allow me to fight. Huang Feidi had originally wanted to remove Yi Yuanqing's military power, but just as Yi Yuanqing had said, a great war was imminent, and it was time to use people. How could they let a general marry because of their own selfish desires? This was also a move that would damage the morale of the army. The gains did not make up for the losses. Therefore, Huang Feidi said solemnly, General Yi. Go to the border now and guard it strictly. This empress will immediately send reinforcements. Yi Yuanqing was overjoyed. Thank you, Your Majesty. This general will head over right away. Yi Yuanqing stood up, took a look at her big brother, then turned around and left. The elegance of a female general was undeniable. Shan Yu looked at this fiancé of his and blushed with shame. The way she walks doesn't have any hint of a woman at all. It is truly a pity for that face and that figure of hers. After Yi Yuanqing left, the atmosphere became a little heavy. Yi Shan let out a breath. My daughter's back view is extremely similar to the back view of Yi Hua's back view when he left. This time, Shanghai has sent 5 million over. My daughter is in a very dangerous situation. Shan Junren said respectfully, Your Majesty, I'm afraid the attack from Shanghai this time is a premeditated and planned operation. We can't let our guard down. What opinion does Prime Minister Shan have? Huang Feidi asked indifferently, ignoring his son who was kneeling on the ground. Shan Junren said in a low voice, Does Your Majesty still remember the once every 100,000 years supreme? The moment he said that, the crowd began to discuss fervently. Their faces were filled with shock. If it wasn't for Shan Junren's reminder, everyone would have forgotten about it. How could Huang Feidi not know about the Supreme that appeared once every 100,000 years? If he could obtain the Supreme, he would be able to advance from a Supreme Being to a Supreme Being. This was the fastest way, but it only happened once every 100,000 years, and it might not even appear. Legend has it that only by relying on a strong murderous aura and countless souls of the dead could one draw out the Supreme. No wonder the Demon Emperor sent 5 million people to attack the border. His goal was supreme. If he could break through his own borders, that would be an even better ending. Of course, Huang Li and Huang Yun also knew about the legend of Supreme. Greed immediately appeared on their faces. If they could become a supreme sovereign, that would be such a great moment. The throne would be more than enough. He could even open up his own little world and become a ruler. Prime Minister Shan, please continue, Huang Feidi said softly. Your Majesty, we have no choice but to accept the challenge. Moreover, we should snatch Supreme. Along with Shan Junren's words, Huang Feidi slowly closed his eyes. If we can snatch Supreme, that would be great. However, this Supreme will cause a lot of people to fight over it, and some Supreme Beings that are not under my jurisdiction will also make a move. Seems like the losses of this time snatching of Supreme will be disastrous. If we don't want the Demon Emperor to succeed, we shouldn't send any troops. However, this also means that the border will be lost. Afterward, the Demon Emperor would be able to directly kill his way over to Lingdu. Along the way, he would burn, kill, and plunder without a single bit of benevolence. If the Demon Emperor's 5 million people were to enter Lingdu, the losses would be even greater. If that happened, their losses would be even greater, so reinforcements were absolutely necessary. Furthermore, they should snatch that Supreme. Qian Yuqing only hoped that Yi Hua wouldn't go, or that His Majesty wouldn't allow Yi Hua to go. In the past, Yi Hua had disappeared for 1,000 years because of this. Qian Yuqing didn't want to see Yi Hua getting hurt because of this. Prince Yi, what do you think of this matter? Huang Feidi suddenly asked. Just now, Yi Hua was thinking about that, Supreme. When the time comes, there will definitely be a lot of Supreme beings that will come. This will be a good opportunity for me to take revenge. The people of Shanghai all deserve to die. Kill. Yi Hua said with dense killing intent, looking like he had already made up his mind to kill. However, right now, Huang Feidi was thinking of another possibility. Just like last time. Continue to kill Yi Hua. At that time, Yi Hua will die on the battlefield again. As for my two sons, I will definitely send them over this time. After all, this is such a big matter, the members of the royal family will definitely have to participate. If not, others will say that my children are cowards. All right. Huang Yun, listen up. Yes, Your Majesty. You are to bring 3 million soldiers over to reinforce the troops. Yes, Your Majesty. Huang Yun said respectfully. Huang Li. Yes, Your Majesty. You are to bring 1 million soldiers over to reinforce the troops. Hearing that, Huang Li's brows wrinkled. Isn't father being too biased? I am the eldest son, yet I am only allowed to bring 1 million soldiers, while my ninth son is actually allowed to bring 3 million soldiers. Is father looking down on me this much? But, what else can I do? Yes, Your Majesty. After speaking, Huang Feidi looked towards Yi Hua. Prince Yi, it seems like you also want to take revenge. Of course. Yi Hua said faintly. Originally, I wanted to let you rest in the city for a few more days, but the demon army attacked. Since Prince Yi wishes to take revenge, I shall satisfy your wish. Prince Yi shall go with the identity of an army supervisor. Yi Hua laughed in his heart. This emperor was still hesitating just now. From the looks of it, he wants to get rid of me on the battlefield again. All right then, let's see who is more powerful, or am I more powerful? Thank you, Your Majesty. Yi Hua said while putting on an act. You have your own plan, I have my own plan. Let's see who is more powerful. However, my chances of winning are definitely much higher. Sigh, it can only be said that those who go against me basically don't have a good ending. No matter how good my brain is, it is impossible for me to avoid fighting with martial strength. With such a thing happening, the banquet will definitely have to end early. Yi Hua naturally went back home. Qian Yuqing naturally had to go back home as well. After all, she still hasn't married into the royal family yet, and she can't directly sleep in the royal palace yet. Huang Yun was about to set off for the battle, and he had things to prepare for. Thus, he didn't have the time to take care of Qian Yuqing. Furthermore, right now, Huang Feidi even called Qian Yuqing to his bedroom. Father. That Yi Hua is simply too arrogant, he is completely looking down on you, father. The moment Huang Yun arrived, Huang Yun started adding oil to the fire. I feel that only after Yi Hua dies would Qian Yuqing be wholeheartedly devoted to me. If Huang Feidi gets angry just because of what Huang Yun said, then he wouldn't be a formidable emperor. Chapter 1008. Of course, it's through meritorious service. Huang Yun understood this point. Only by meritorious service could he ascend to the position of crown prince. Huang Feidi nodded. Imperial father has taken care of you as much as he can. If you don't do a good job this time, Imperial father will doubt your ability. Father, I won't let you down. Huang Yunyan said. This was his best chance, and he had to grasp it. Only by performing meritorious deeds and becoming the crown prince would no one dare to say anything. Huang Feidi nodded. Go back and prepare. The day after tomorrow, bring some men to the front line. Don't fail. Yes. Imperial father, it was only Imperial father. Don't you need me to do anything for Yi Hua? Huang Yun asked vigilantly. There's no need for that. I have my own arrangements. Just do what you need to do. Huang Yun was relieved to hear that his imperial father had made arrangements. Father, rest early. Your son will take his leave. Huang Feidy nodded. Not long after Huang Yun left, Shan Junren slowly walked in. Of course, the jackdaw was also there. Huang Feidy lowered his head slightly and did not look at the two in front of him. He said, "It seems like the plan from back then will have to be repeated again." Shan Junren frowned slightly after hearing this. Since the emperor wanted to destroy the Yi family, why did he want Yi Yuanqing to marry his son? He didn't understand. Jackdaw croaked, "Your Majesty, don't worry. I won't let him come back alive this time." Huang Feidy raised his head and looked at Jackdaw, then said gravely, "Other than taking Yehua's life, there is one more thing." "Your Majesty, you must be referring to Supreme," said Jackdaw. "That's right, this emperor wants you to snatch Supreme back." Jackdaw was silent for a moment, then said softly, "Then I suppose I've repaid my debt to His Majesty." Huang Feidy suddenly chuckled, "As long as I complete these two tasks, I will have repaid this debt of gratitude." "Thank you, Your Majesty." "Your Majesty, I will go and prepare now." "All right." Jackdaw sounded happy, as if it could finally live a free life. At this moment, Shan Junren didn't leave. It seemed like he had something to say, but he wanted the emperor's permission. After a long time, Huang Feidy nodded his head. Only then did Shan Jun dare to speak. "Your Majesty, Jackdaw is very useful. Why did you just let it go?" Shan Junren didn't understand. These two matters were indeed important, but Jackdaw was a supreme. He was also very useful. "Who said I'm going to release him?" Huang Feidy said in a low voice. Back then, Jackdaw used the supreme technique to break through to the supreme level, and that supreme technique belonged to me. That was the truth. Back then, Huang Feidy wasn't the emperor, but he was Jackdaw's good brother. However, in the face of Supreme's temptation, Jackdaw still snatched it first. Jackdaw felt guilty, so he agreed to help Huang Feidy seize the throne. He would even listen to Huang Feidy's orders. This could be considered a form of compensation. But as time passed, Jackdaw, a supreme, wanted to break free from this shackle. However, as a supreme, he naturally had to acknowledge his words. That was why Jackdaw used this opportunity to say that they were even. "Back then, I stole your supreme. This time, I'll help you steal it. It's fair." Very few people knew about this matter, and only Shan Junren knew about it. Back then, Shan Junren could be considered as Huang Feidy's advisor. For Huang Feidy to be able to sit on the throne, Shan Junren's contributions weren't small. After all, a newly ascended emperor had to have some talented people by his side. Otherwise, how could he have obtained the throne? Hearing the emperor's words, Shan Junren understood. Accompanying a ruler was like accompanying a tiger. Only by following orders could one live. "Your Majesty, the Crown Prince's actions today seem to be to rope Yi Hua in." Shan Junren still wanted to ask the emperor about his decision. Huang Feidy let out a sigh of relief. The struggle for the Crown Prince position has always been cruel. Back then, wasn't it the same for us? Right now, the only one who can compete with Huang Yun is Huang Li. I don't have any hopes for anyone else. Shan Junren felt helpless. The emperor's sons didn't have any great ambitions. It was as if they only wanted to protect their own fields and live out their days. Only Huang Li and Huang Yun had this kind of attitude. Based on the emperor's arrangements, it seemed that the emperor was prepared to let the crown prince and the ninth prince fight it out. After all, this was also a custom. This time, the people fighting against Shanghai were a comparison. The emperor gave the ninth prince abundant resources, while the crown prince received much less. If the crown prince was a capable person, he would be able to turn defeat into victory. It seemed that the emperor was also giving the crown prince a chance. After all, under such a disadvantageous situation, the crown prince was still able to obtain good results. Based on this deduction, Shan Junren felt that the emperor might not necessarily hand over the position of the crown prince to Huang Yun. Your Majesty, this subject still has one more thing that I want to ask. What is it? Your Majesty, why did you want to betroth Yi Yuanqing to my son? Shan Junren didn't understand. This move of the emperor's is very strange. Huang Feidi said faintly, consider it as leaving a memory for Yi family. Shan Junren's expression changed. So the emperor is planning to slaughter everyone in Yi family. However, is the emperor really keeping Yi Yuanqing alive for the sake of a memory? Shan Junren didn't know. That's right, that city extermination case, how is it going? They have been investigating it for a few years, right? Huang Feidi suddenly thought of the case from a few years ago and asked casually. Replying to Your Majesty, there is still no news from the people from the Ministry of Justice. Huang Feidi wrinkled his brows, this matter cannot be handled carelessly. After all, there was someone who dared to exterminate a city in his own territory without leaving a single person behind. Not even a corpse was left behind. This subject will supervise the matter. And go back and rest early. Perhaps the Yi Yuanqing might not even be able to return. Shan Junren swallowed his saliva, this subject shall take his leave. After Shan Junren left, Huang Feidi didn't go to sleep. Instead, he sat in front of his study table and pondered. The candlelight shone on his face, making him appear very gloomy. On this night, Huang Feidi was actually very angry. He had only suppressed his anger until now. After a long time, Huang Feidi shouted out, Men. Sky Bearing hurriedly walked in and said respectfully, Your Majesty. Go and call a few concubines over. Sky Bearing went into a daze for a moment, then said respectfully, Yes. Your Majesty. Seems like this is also a kind of good job for Sky Bearing. After all, the emperor doesn't call out names sometimes. However, the right to choose is all on Sky Bearing. Sky Bearing can call whoever they want, this is too awesome. Yi Hua who returned home made Lu Jing feel at ease. When the other brothers found out that their big brother returned home safe and sound, they were also very astonished. Big brother was actually able to return home alive, this is simply a miracle. Therefore, Yi Hua hurriedly went to ask his father what happened and why his second sister didn't return home with him. Chapter 1009. When they heard about the banquet from their father, Yi Chen and the others were stunned. This big brother actually insulted the emperor. Moreover, it was so open and above board. It's over. Yi family is finished. Big brother once again dragged Yi family into the abyss. Lu Jing also found out about the situation from her son and said helplessly, Yi Hua, if you do this, the emperor will not let our Yi family off. When the time comes, I'll take you away. Yi Hua said faintly. I don't care about this Yi family at all, because this is not my Yi family, my Yi family is a warm big family. After hearing what Yi Hua said, Lu Jing stretched out her hand and caressed Yi Hua's face, silly child, where can we run to? Mother, we can go to Big Brother's palace. It's awesome, even more awesome than here. Yi Juetian had a look of approval on his face. The main thing is that there are a lot of beauties over at Big Brother's place. If I am able to marry one of them, wow, that would be great. Moreover, Big Brother was the boss. When the time came, he could just directly make arrangements. Lu Jing smiled helplessly. Mother is already old, you all can do whatever you all want, but Yi Hua. This time, when you all go to the front line, you all have to be careful. What happened back then might happen again. Don't worry. What happened back then will not happen again. Yi Hua said coldly. There are still a lot of things that I need to settle back then. After Lu Jing heard this, she felt slightly more at ease. Yi Juetian, who was at the side, directly said, Mother, don't worry. Big brother beating father now is like a joke. Upon hearing that, Yi Hua laughed. This brat is a bit interesting. Lu Jing glared fiercely at Yi Juetian. This child was really. Lower your voice. No matter what, he was still your father. Rest early, I will be going back to sleep first. Yi Hua stood up. Right now, he was still not willing to call mother, mainly because he was unable to say it out loud. Lu Jing also knew that Yi Hua was embarrassed and did not insist on it. One day, Yi Hua will definitely call me mother. Go back and have a good rest. Mother, I'm going to rest too. Yes. The two brothers walked out of the courtyard, and Yi Juetian asked in a low voice, Big brother. How about taking me to war? I also want to make a name for myself. Yi Juetian also rubbed his palms together. His big brother could send him to the battlefield with just a single word, and when the time came, he would be able to become famous. Yi Hua said faintly, After I leave this place, mother will need your protection. Yi Juetian immediately hammered his head. Big brother was right, he had to stay at home and take care of his mother. He couldn't let anything happen to his mother. However, Yi Hua was still not at ease. After he left, the emperor might take his mother away. Looks like I still need someone to protect my mother. This Yi Juetian's strength is still a bit lacking. After all, he can't even defeat that father of his. Does he still have the guts? In the future, I still have to train him a little more. How can my younger brother possibly be a coward? I feel that Yi Juetian's personality is very similar to Lai Gu's, but Yi Juetian's guts isn't even 1/10 as big as Lai Gu's. Big brother, sister-in-law's sighed. Yi Hua glared at him, and the latter shrugged his shoulders, then immediately ran into the courtyard. Yi Hua let out a breath, then slowly walked towards his courtyard. After that, he pushed open the door with both of his hands, and his brows immediately wrinkled. A hidden weapon flew over. Yi Hua stretched out his hand and grabbed, and a crystal could be seen falling onto his hand. Of course, Yi Hua knew what that was, spirit gem. Seems like, Yi Hua, do you love me? A beautiful voice rang out, and a beautiful figure appeared from the darkness. If it wasn't Qian Yuqing, who else could it be? Yi Hua silently took a look at Qian Yuqing, then placed the spirit gem on the table. Crazy. Qian Yuqing, no, you have to answer this question of mine today. Qian Yuqing grabbed onto the spirit gem and stood in front of Yi Hua. Yi Hua looked down at the woman in front of him, and Qian Yuqing looked at Yi Hua stubbornly. Quickly scram, don't disturb my rest. Yi Hua said lightly. Upon hearing what Yi Hua said, Qian Yuqing's tears flowed down. Yi Hua, I can tolerate your cold words, but I want to know just how you feel in your heart. There is no need for me to tell you. Yi Hua said gravely. All right. There is no need for you to tell me, right? Then why did you save me that night? And even hugged me? Qian Yuqing pointed at Yi Hua and questioned. Yi Hua sneered, I don't want to see a dead person appear in front of my palace, is this reason enough? Hearing Yi Hua's rebuttal, Qian Yuqing suddenly laughed lightly. If that's the case, then just save me, but why did you hug me, take advantage of me, and even touch my chest? When did I touch your chest? Yi Hua casually said. After saying that, he felt that there was a problem. Qian Yuqing could be seen suddenly becoming bashful and said, Yi Hua, if you want to touch my chest, you can just tell Yuqing. It's not like Yuqing doesn't want you to touch my chest. Yi Hua, quickly scram, who wants to touch my chest? Yi Hua shouted gravely. Qian Yuqing pouted her small mouth. Yi Hua, this time, you have to be careful, they will make a move on you. I know, you don't have to worry about me. Suddenly, the room seemed to have quietened down, and the atmosphere was a bit strange. Yi Hua. Qian Yuqing called out lightly. Yi Hua didn't respond. Will you let me marry someone else? Qian Yuqing continued to ask. Yi Hua continued to not respond. After a long while, Qian Yuqing took a deep breath. I understand, you rest early, I will be going back. After finished speaking, Qian Yuqing left through the underground tunnel. When Yi Hua heard that the floor had closed up, he let out a breath of relief. Women are indeed annoying. Yi Hua's figure could be seen instantly disappearing from the room and appearing at Wushu Empire's palace. Yi Hua. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi cried out in surprise. The two wives were just discussing what Yi Hua was doing, and when he suddenly appeared, they got a fright. You haven't slept yet? Yi Hua said faintly. The women's gossipy heart immediately came. Yi Hua, what's going on? Did something happen? Quickly tell us about it. It's a long story, I still need a period of time before I come back, you two pay attention to it. I'm afraid that there will be uninvited guests coming over these few days. Uninvited guests? Yi Hua, you stirred up trouble the moment you went over. Qingye rubbed her forehead. My man is just a troublemaker. Yi Hua let out a breath of relief. It's not me who stirred up trouble, it's me who stirred up trouble in the past. I am currently taking the blame and dealing with it. Recently, I will be going to the battlefield. I have to call someone over to protect my mother. I'll go. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi immediately raised their hands, just like elementary school students. The two of you are daughters-in-law, it isn't appropriate for the two of you to go and meet with each other right now. I will have Daji go over to protect mother. Yi Hua had also thought for a while just now. This meeting between mother and daughters-in-law, I can't be too hasty. Daji's strength is not bad, she is courageous, meticulous, and knows how to take care of people. Chapter 10:10. Hearing that Yi Hua asked Daji to go over, Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi knew that there was nothing for them to do anymore. You two should rest early and recover your energy. When the time comes, I will bring mother over, don't look so tired, understand? Really? We are going to sleep, we have been staying up too late recently. Baizhi, do you still have any facial masks? And I still have a few, how about we go and buy some tomorrow? I do need to go and buy some facial masks and skincare products, this place is very dry. Yi Hua was helpless, these two women suddenly started talking about cosmetics, I should just call Daji over first. However, before calling Daji over, Yi Hua found Wei Chang and told him a few things, then went upstairs with Daji. These few days, Daji felt as if she was suffering from depression, everything she did was boring, eating wasn't tasty anymore, sleeping was also insomnia. Only when Master is by my side can I feel at ease and have the energy to do anything, but now, Master hugged me in his embrace, wow. I am so happy, Master's embrace is so comfortable, so warm, just like last time, there is also a faint fragrance, so fragrant Master didn't abandon Daji, no matter where I go, I will think of Daji, comfortable, we are here. Yi Hua said faintly. Daji went into a daze, then hurriedly left Yi Hua's embrace and stood at the side, not saying anything, while sizing up the house with the corner of her eyes. Daji. Daji was delighted, bringing me into the house in the middle of the night, There is even a bed at the side. Oh my god, Master finally called Dodgy to serve me in bed. I am so excited, so nervous, I feel like my life has reached the climax. Master is so hateful, after going around in such a big circle, he actually wants Dodgy to serve him in bed, and he is still so embarrassed. What is there to be embarrassed about? Dodgy serving him in bed is a very normal thing. This is also something within the master's duty. Dodgy could be seen lowering her head slightly and starting to untie the belt of her dress with a bashful look on her face. At the same time, she also had a look of saying that Master should take pity on Dodgy. Dodgy's body is weak, if not, she won't be able to use it in the future. What are you doing? Yihua said gravely. Ah, Master. Dodgy went into a daze, then looked at her master with an adorable look. Why are you undressing? Master, didn't you call Dodgy to serve you in bed? Yihua, this Dodgy only thinks about serving me in bed all day long. She's even dirtier than I was back then. I'll give Dodgy the title of Filthy Demon King. The reason why I called you up this time is because I want to give you a mission. Yihua said faintly. When Dodgy heard that she was not asked to serve him in bed, her mood immediately became gloomy. Everything added up was not as important as serving him in bed. Yes, Master, Dodgy said dejectedly. Yihua felt that it was funny and said lightly, if you perform well, you will still have the chance to serve me in bed in the future. Really, when Dodgy heard what Dodgy said, it was as if she had been revived. I'm so happy. What Dodgy wants, is just to serve me in bed. Yihua nodded his head. Let's give Dodgy an empty check first. This way, I will be more serious when doing things. The Supreme Overlord, am just too outstanding, and I still have to use this kind of method to appease my subordinates. These women, they are just lusting after my body. Incredible. Seems like I have to properly protect myself when I go out. Master, tell me, what do you want Dodgy to do? To protect my mother. Dodgy's eyes were flickering. Master's mother, doesn't that mean that she will be my mother in the future? Wow, Master is actually letting me protect my own mother. From this, it can be seen just how assured he is. Master, you can be at ease. As long as Dodgy is here, Mother will not be injured. Dodgy's thoughts were immediately revealed, and she immediately called Yihua mother. Yihua was helpless as he said faintly, your identity is just a maid, do you understand? Dodgy understands. Dodgy was already satisfied. You can sleep here first tonight, I will bring you over tomorrow morning. Okay, Master. Dodgy took a look at the big bed and began frantically hinting at her master. Master, don't you want to smell the fragrance of Dodgy's body and also the temperature of Dodgy's body? It is very comfortable, Master, you can sleep on the bed. Dodgy will go and find a cushion. Dodgy could be heard saying faintly. Of course. Yihua said faintly. Under Dodgy's help, Yihua took off his clothes, then laid on the bed and slept. Towards Dodgy's frantic hints, Yihua was completely unaffected. This caused Dodgy to even have the heart to want to die. Master's willpower is too strong, I am unable to entice him at all. I wonder how your wife managed to push Master down, she is truly too valiant. Left with no choice, Dodgy could only sleep on the floor and pretend to be pitiful. However, Yihua who was on the bed still did not have any reaction. Even if Dodgy were to sleep in a world of ice and snow, she would not catch a cold. Gradually, Yihua finally fell asleep. He thought of a lot of plans and felt that it should be very interesting. On the morning of the second day, Yihua smelled a familiar smell. This is the smell of pancakes. Opening his eyes, Yihua saw that breakfast was placed on the table, and soon after, he saw Dodgy walking over with a bowl of century egg and lean meat porridge. Master, wake up, Dodgy will go and pour some water for you. Yihua nodded his head. It must be said that Dodgy's service is indeed very comfortable. Forget about Qingye and Donghuang Baiji, I don't expect them to serve me either. Yihua put on his clothes, and Daji walked over while carrying a basin of water and hurriedly helped Yihua tidy up his clothes. Big brother, right at this moment, Yi Juetian suddenly walked in, and when he saw this scene, Yihua took a look at Daji and acted as if nothing had happened. Yi Juetian had seen Daji before. Upon seeing Daji, Yi Juetian swallowed a mouthful of saliva. I remember that last time when I was in the pavilion, this woman was kneeling at the side and brewing tea, and the tea was very tasty. She was mesmerized at that time. From the looks of it, she shouldn't be his big brother's woman. If only I could let big brother introduce him to me. Daji sensed Yi Juetian's gaze that was filled with ill intentions. However, in the end, Yi Juetian was her master's blood-related younger brother, and she couldn't disrespect him. Daji could only endure and not say anything. Why did you come over so early? Yihua asked faintly. Daji was currently combing Yihua's hair. Yi Juetian came back to his senses and said, Big brother, mother wants you to accompany me more. After all, you are going to leave tomorrow. Got it. I'll be there after breakfast. Yi Juetian walked towards Yihua with a smile on his face. In actuality, he just wanted to get closer to Daji. Right when I got close to Daji, I smelled a fragrant scent. Wow, so comfortable. Very soon, Yihua finished dressing up. Afterward, Yihua sat at the breakfast table, and Daji served him by the side. At this moment, Yi Juetian asked softly, Big brother. End of chapter. Chapter 10-11. I have something to discuss with you. Yi Juetian rubbed his hands together, and from time to time, he would take a look at Daji. So beautiful, so beautiful. I have already fallen in love with this girl. Yihua, who was eating the fruit Jinbing, asked faintly, Amen. Big brother, I'm not young anymore. Last time, mother even said that she needed big brother's help. Yi Juetian's smile simply became more and more despicable. Daji, who was standing behind him, wanted to slap him. Rest assured, I will help you. Yihua said indifferently. Yi Juetian said shyly, Actually, big bro, I already have someone I like. I just need big bro to do that. Looking at his own younger brother's bashful look, Yihua really wanted to send him flying with a slap. Where is the spirit of a man? There is still a woman who likes you when you are like this. To hell with it. What do you need big brother to do? Yihua asked curiously. Big brother, this lady, hee. Big brother, you understand. Yihua, Daji was speechless. You like Daji? Yihua asked confusedly. Yi Juetian nodded fiercely. That's right, I really like it. Big brother, please bestow it to me. Right now, Daji's heart was in a mess. If master were to bestow me away, then wouldn't I, master, don't be like this. Yihua wrinkled his brows, then asked faintly, So, you want to? Big brother, please help me. I don't even have a wife right now. Mother is still looking forward to me getting married and having children. Yi Juetian hurriedly said. As long as his big brother was willing to help, it would be fine. Yihua wiped his mouth, then said, How do you want me to help you? Yi Juetian was about to roll his eyes. With just a look, I can tell that she is big brother's maid. Of course she is like that. Thus, Yi Juetian had a look of a big brother, you understand, on his face. If you like Daji, you can go and chase after her yourself. Yihua said faintly. In terms of feelings, Yihua felt that he was free. Daji's happiness should not be based on his own words. Yi Juetian asked softly, Big brother, why did you call Daji over this time? Come and protect mother. I'm worried about you alone. I see. That's great. Yi Juetian was so excited that he almost clapped his hands. His big brother had gone to the front lines, and he was going to be alone with Daji at home. With his looks, how could he not be able to woo a little girl like Daji? Yi Hua shook his head, stood up, and prepared to let Daji meet his mother. Daji followed behind silently, looking very sad. Master actually tacitly allowed my little brother to pursue me. How can it be like this, Master? You should have directly rejected him. Yi Hua also lacked consideration and didn't take care of Daji's feelings. The three arrived at Lu Jing's small courtyard. Lu Jing's complexion looked a lot better these few days, her face was glowing red, and she was actually knitting a sweater. Yi Hua didn't expect that this kind of thing would still be popular in the gods' realm. Looking at his mother, she should be knitting sweaters for her grandchildren. However, he still had to remind his mother not to follow the standards of a child, but to follow the standards of an adult. After all, by the time Ali and the others returned, they would have already grown up. Mother! Yi Juetian happily called out. He felt that he would definitely be able to successfully woo the girl. Daji's loyalty towards Yi Hua would never change. How could it be possible for her to accept another man? That was something that did not exist in the first place. Before Yi Juetian even started, he was already destined to end up in a tragedy. Lu Jing raised her head and looked towards her two sons. However, this time, she directly looked towards Daji, who was at the back. What a beautiful lady this is. Lu Jing directly asked Daji. She was very curious about the relationship between Yi Hua and Daji. After all, Daji was standing behind Yi Hua. Could this be Yi Hua's wife? Daji's looks are indeed not bad. Yi Hua pulled Daji to the front of his mother and said, "This is the new maid that I found for you. When I am not around, she will be able to protect your safety." Maid Daji. Daji bowed slightly and greeted. Lu Jing didn't expect that this Daji was actually just a maid. With such a beautiful appearance, she shouldn't just be a maid. Lu Jing didn't dare to believe it. After sizing up Daji, she doesn't look like a maid at all. Both of you, take a seat. Lu Jing said with a slight smile. Daji obediently stood at the side. She discovered that her master's mother was also very beautiful and very benevolent. "This is great, little Tian, why is your face so red?" Lu Jing discovered that there was a bit of a problem with her son and asked curiously. Yi Juetian was a bit embarrassed. He secretly took a glance at Daji, who was beside his mother, and then a shy look appeared on Yi Hua's face, causing goosebumps to appear all over Yi Hua's body. To actually be able to be shy to such an extent, Yi Hua is simply convinced. When Lu Jing saw her son acting like this, she more or less understood what he meant. This little Tian has finally grown up and knows that he likes women. Daji had a calm look on her face, not moved at all. "Little Tian, you have to work hard." Lu Jing laughed lightly, expressing that she was encouraging her son. "If there is a girl that you like, then go and chase after her." Yi Juetian appeared to be very embarrassed. Mother actually said it out loud. "This is so embarrassing." Yi Hua shook his head. "If you are able to chase after Daji like this, I, the Supreme Overlord, would be able to livestream myself eating sh*t, and it would be the type where my expression wouldn't even change." "Yi Hua, you don't have to worry about mother, nothing will happen." Lu Jing knew that Yi Hua was worried about her safety. Last night, she had basically offended the Emperor, and the Emperor would definitely come and capture her to threaten Yi Hua. Yi Hua nodded his head. "With Daji here, I can indeed be a lot more at ease. As for the other people from Yi family, forget about it. That's right, big brother, there is something that I need to talk to you about." "What is it?" "This morning, I went out for a stroll and heard some very interesting things." Yi Juetian laughed. Looking at his expression, one could tell that it was definitely something good. Lu Jing smiled and said, "What good thing is it? Tell mother about it." And, "The things that happened at the banquet last night have all been spread out, and it is very interesting. Firstly, it is said that the emperor broke up a meritorious minister and betrothed Qian Yuqing to his own son. It is a very disappointing move." After hearing that, Yi Hua laughed. Lu Jing was a bit surprised. To think that the news would spread like this. However, it is very normal for the news to spread like this. After all, that emperor was indeed doing such a thing. Then, the news of big sister-in-law being hit on the back of her hand by the 9th prince is also spreading like wildfire right now. The image of the 9th prince hitting a woman has dropped a lot in the hearts of the people. Indeed, for a man to actually go and hit a woman, this kind of man was a disgrace in the gods' realm. This is simply a shameless action, and the person that was hit was even Qian Yuqing, a super beauty. A lot of men were in a bad mood. What right do you have to hit Qian Yuqing, just because you are the 9th prince? Why don't you go and die? Damn it, Lu Jing had not heard of this matter before and cried out in surprise, "What? Yuqing was hit by Huang Yun." End of this chapter. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.